tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I bring the fire. And I bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand, talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning, and the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I bring the fire. And I bring the fire. The world's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth hits harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Wednesday night, hump day. I got some honey tea tonight. That's how my day's gone. Long day, but ready to go because we have a lot to get to. I know. Everybody makes fun of me for saying that every night, but it's true because this is the crazy time of life. Politics in this nation is now the most engrossing, amazing, exciting thing going on. Way better than Netflix. It's like, what was that show that, the political show? It's like that every day now. And my God, what a day. We got Virginia, the election from last night, the redistricting election already overturned. We'll see if it holds up, but a judge has already said it was unconstitutional and slapped it down, so they'll have to win on appeal. That's an incredible win, so we're going to get into that story and whether or not it will hold. We have so much more coming out about the Southern Poverty Law Center, all these PSYOP organizations that are funding all these crazy people, making it look like things are so much worse than they actually are. That is just being exposed like crazy, so deep diving on that tonight. We have Kevin Warsh hearing. We got to talk about that and what Trump's got going on at the Fed. It's pretty incredible stuff. Kevin Warsh crushed it. Absolutely brilliant, and gives me a lot of hope for the future in our economy. Of course, we're going to do the Grifter report. You know, we got Grifter report. The Grifter is always grifting. So, of course, I got to cover all that. And then, obviously, Iran. What's going on with Iran? Where are we at? How we have all the cards. We have all the cards, Zelensky. We have all the cards. And so we got to talk about that. So Woo! Lots to get to. But first, guys, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you for joining me on my live show tonight. I appreciate it. Appreciate you spending your time in here. If you're in the chat, please be respectful. No trolling allowed, but everything else is good to go. Disagreements, tooting, tooting. I was going to say tooting horns, but nobody's tooting horns anymore. What am I, 85? That's just what is even happening in here. I think I'm getting a little punch drunk from lack of sleep, but that's okay. We're gonna keep it moving. But hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that repost if you're on X, and let me shout out some of the winners here for showing up early. Gen X MAGA numero uno tonight, loving it. Alan Akajanian, what's up, brother? Tesla Joe, R. Will, Donna, GN, Seth Linerode, Stephanie Bridges, how's it going? Cass Zink, what's up, my brother? KS Cleanup, Ellen Hunt, how you doing tonight? D6, Mike Mishla, Jesus Saves, Vince Felice, brother, how you doing, my friend? James Lee, Alice Fordham, Kim Wiley, Scott Volkovich, always here. Sebastian Hussein, Pat M, Heidi Moga. We got AZ Tropic, Lochtfeld, Steve holding it down on Rumble. I love music as well. Welcome, guys. I do all of that, but now the chat's just getting too big, so I can't call out everybody anymore. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean I don't love you guys. It really doesn't, but I'd be doing the whole show is going to start just being shout outs from now on because we's a growing, and that's okay. So anyways, last time, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we got to get into the show because I don't want to be here till 2 a.m. like last night. By the way, last night was awesome. It sucked up everything I had in me. I mean, we were partying last night up past 2 a.m. on the East Coast. That's crazy. I'm working on it. I'm working on making it a little bit earlier, guys, from now on. There's still going to be some late night lives here and there until I can get things situated, but we're getting closer and gonna work it out. Gonna figure it out to get a better schedule. So I'm working on a few things, and I'll keep you all posted as that goes. All right, you guys ready? Let's get into it. So tonight, massive news. Actually, this happened around 4 o'clock, but a Virginia Circuit Court ruled yesterday's redistricting vote unconstitutional, and there's now an injunction blocking the results from being certified. It's massive. This is massive news. It just goes to show, even when we're losing, there's hope. This is one of the first times a judge has been on our side, and seeing as how he put the injunction on, now it can't be certified, go forward until it's appealed. Now, they're going to rush it through. It's the Attorney General of Virginia has already filed an appeal. They're going to get some movement on this. What we got to hope and pray is that they truly did screw up in the process of this, because that's what the judge said, is that the process of changing their constitution was not handled correctly. So everybody cross your fingers. Let's pray that this gets slapped down, because the Democrats they were having parties today. They were having field days. They basically were celebrating today as if the midterms were already over. This was their holy grail win. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think it's going to be the win they think it's going to be. I really don't. So the already, even if this goes through, I have a feeling Trump might have some up his sleeve. But first, let's see. There might be a real chance this gets upheld, I should say. Let's listen to Scott Jennings in his interview real quick.
Last night, the voters narrowly approved a new congressional map for the state. It was 6-5, Democrat to Republican. Pretty fair map, pretty balanced. And now it will be 10-1. The Washington Post editorial board called it this, quote, Virginia plunges America deeper into the gerrymandering abyss. But the legal battle is not over. Here to discuss, former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli. Ken, thanks for coming on to the show. Now that the referendum is over, I guess you're headed to you've already argued this in front of the Virginia Supreme Court. They've not issued a final ruling. What can we expect here over the next few days or weeks?
Yeah, Scott, this is going to move very fast in Virginia's courts. The precedent here is that the Supreme Court wouldn't touch a case until after the referendum. They consider that part of the legislative process, just like the governor signing or vetoing a bill. So there's no reason to have a lawsuit, or at least to hear and decide it until after that's done. Well, now the yes folks with 4-1 spending have won by about 2 or 3 points, and it is time to get on with the lawsuits. And the yes folks probably are going to look back at Tuesday and think that was the easy part, because they have so badly violated several constitutional provisions. Mind you, we're talking about the state constitution of Virginia, not the federal constitution, that they're going to have a hard time keeping this from being voided by the Virginia Supreme Court. So that's what's next. Briefs are due tomorrow at the Virginia Supreme Court. They're going to have oral argument on Monday. There's another case coming up out of a circuit court in Southwest Virginia that's being heard today, and I imagine will be consolidated or play catch up with the case right now in front of the Virginia Supreme Court. So this is going to go very fast. I think we're going to have a final ruling in May, best guess. And I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I'd be betting on no in the courts, even though they lost by a couple of points yesterday at the ballot box.
You said that the
awesome. So he's been this is a former attorney general of Virginia. So it's not like some rando just walked on. It was like I don't think they got this. No, it's former attorney general of Virginia. He obviously knows the state's laws very well. This gives us hope, guys. There's hope. And there's even hope if they win it. I mean, wait till I show you some of the other stuff going on towards the midterms later in the show. We have hope. It's not over by any stretch, no matter which way this goes. But if they lose, it's going to be a massive hit to the Democrats. They thought that they were going to out-gerrymander Trump, which they've already out-gerrymandered. Trump's response, getting Texas, Missouri, so on and so forth, to gerrymander, that was a response to how bad the Democrats have already gerrymandered their states. But alas, Democrats never like to be called out. They never like to admit they did anything wrong. They're the party of democracy, remember? The party of democracy, where in a state with 45% Republicans, 46% Republicans, they give them 1 seat out of 11. That's the party of democracy. But I think there's a lot more going on here. Trump called it out already as a rigged election. He says a rigged election took place last night in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. All day long, Republicans were winning. Spirit was unbelievable until the very end when, of course, there was a massive mail-in ballot drop. Where have I heard that before? Democrats eked out another crooked victory. 6-5 goes 10-1, and yet the presidential election in November was very close to 50-50. In addition to everything else, language on the referendum purposefully unintelligible and deceptive. As everyone knows, I'm an extraordinary, brilliant person. Love that. And even I had no idea what the hell they were talking about in the referendum. Nobody does it like him. And neither do they. Let's see if the courts will fix this travesty of justice. So Trump's calling it out as rigged, and we're already seeing all kinds of stuff coming out. Like this. Virginia had over 1 million duplicate voter registrations. They removed 0 of them. And this kind of thing makes me think, was this a sting? Was the Trump administration ready for this one? Are they watching it very carefully? Do they have the receipts? I mean, because of X, all this news now travels in like light speed. An election took place last night. We already have receipts on fraud. It's that quick. Nobody can trust an election that has this, like, at least nobody on the other side of the losing side, quote unquote, the losing side. We can't trust this. I mean, even this right here, this is straight up impossible. Fairfax County has 3 high-speed scanners. Even in perfect conditions, those 3 machines can process a max of 4,500 ballots in 5 minutes. The yes votes exploded by over 64,000, that exact window. No votes led all night. We're about 90%. We're in Democrats squeezing a win by. We're watching Democrats. I mean, this stuff's crazy. So these scanners couldn't even have processed all the votes quick enough. So this is how, I mean, again, I hope and pray that whichever way it goes, whichever way the courts decide, we get all the information from this. We prove yet another election is fraudulent. The DOJ's on top of this. We got Tulsi Gabbard, who's already raided Georgia, gotten the stuff out of Maricopa County, went to Puerto Rico to get election records. We got Maduro out of Venezuela, and that's believed to be where a lot of the stuff was going on. Election machines, switching out votes, CIA control down there. So, I mean, you can see where all the cards are being played by Trump here with the election stuff. So, don't be dooming. That's all I got to say about that. Don't be blackpilling. There's a silver lining to all of this. And, at this point, there's no, Trump is either a mastermind with everything he's got going on, or he's just the luckiest SOB ever. And I don't really believe in luck. If he pulled off the first election, you could say that. After the second one, after they pulled off, after everything he's pulling out now, every day that goes by, as this stuff happens and as Trump makes more and more moves, and we keep seeing, surprises like last night with the SPLC, the way Trump has cornered Iran, the more we keep seeing this stuff, the more it's like it's harder and harder to say the man's not a genius. Even the Democrats. I heard a Democrat tonight on a program I was listening to said the craziest thing. She said that in regards to Iran, she was like, Trump's playing 5D chess. I was like, well, what? I thought she was joking at first, and then she repeated it. She was serious. She just thought that the 5D chess he was playing was going to ultimately be harmful for us, but she still was saying that everything he was doing was brilliant. She just meant like a mad genius kind of way. So, again, all this is set up. So let's see what happens. Prayers that the courts strike it down. They do the right thing. Democrats suffer a major hit, and we also get the election fraud exposed so that this stuff can't affect the midterms. All right. So, okay, I'm going to get into Iran in a second here, but I do want to get into the chat for a second, see if, by the way, if you guys have anything to say, questions, comments, you want to get to me, you can always tag me, and I will try to see it. Super chats, you'll guarantee get answered. But let's see here. Somebody's unsubbed and resubbed where you're not getting notifications. People have that trouble all the time. So yeah, I don't know why. It's a weird thing with YouTube. They do that a lot. What's up, mods? I see you guys here. Mike Mishler says they spent $90 million to get the redistricting done in Virginia. I know, and a lot of that was Soros money. I think somebody tracked like 40 million of it to Soros. Yeah, that's crazy. Republicans spent like 30 million. But I gotta believe at this point it's all being monitored. Think of what Bessent is doing with the Iran money, what he's doing with cutting off Antifa from their funding. Bessent has been amazing with using the Treasury as a weapon of warfare financially. And so you got to believe that all this is being tracked, especially around elections. Supreme Court will slap it out of here. That's what we're hoping, right? Okay, let's get into Iran, because whether or not it's the most interesting story in the world because it's been going on, it's still the biggest story in the world. Stephen Webb says City of London and Vatican are building the beast system. Too bad they're getting their asses beat. That they might have wanted to, but they have no chance. It's going down. It's going down. All right. Okay. Let's get into Iran. So Trump today had this to say.
So he said then that there is no time pressure on this ceasefire extension, that the 3 to 5 day window that has been reported is, quote, not true. He says he's not in a rush and that he wants the best deal. He added that the U.S. military blockade, quote, scares the Iranians more than the bombing, and also said that he personally asked Iran not to execute 8 women who were scheduled for hanging and they were charged with protesting in January. Two of these women are 16 years old, according to the reports.
Crazy. Constantly says it's no time pressure. It's a very interesting thing to say for a guy who is just, talking about how he needed to get it done. The deal get done. He's putting a timeline on, and now he's backed up into no pressure. Trump's doing something that I think even I was missing. Because last Friday, he was just out there pushing, this deal is done. They've claimed it, blah, blah, blah. And then we find out the IRGC put a stamp on it. There's a civil war going on. The IRGC has now gone in and taken over the Capitol, held back the president, the financial minister, and even Khomeini, and prevented them from dealing. So IRGC, directly linked to City of London, is like, no go. We're done. We're not giving in. And this is, again, all assets deployed, right? They cannot give in on Iran. It will be devastating to City of London. They'll lose control of the strait, which is manipulating oil prices, getting trillions of dollars from shipping, from the insurance and fees, and then also the destabilization opportunities for the Middle East whenever they want to ramp up the war machine again, pull us in, and the bankers make all that money from defense contracts, et cetera, et cetera. So they don't want to lose all that. This is the last straw. This is why you dig in. This is why you go suicidal. You have no other options. This is why all assets have been deployed in Fagaland with Tucker, Alex, Megyn Kelly, Candace, so on and so forth. Owen Schroyer, Robert Barnes, you name it. I mean, if there's far less trustworthy influencers now than there was a year ago. There's very few. They've almost all turned. Why? It's all assets deployed time. And Trump acts as if it was over, fools us all for the most part. I mean, I know there were some people like, this is still going to go, but those are the black pillars, okay? They are. And then we go back, but Trump, he's not upset at all. It's almost like he was stirring the pot, getting them to make their moves, and yet still holding this blockade. He knows as long as we have the blockade on, as long as we're sieging them, they are just bleeding out. And he seems fully content to do that. Meanwhile, we now have 3 carrier groups in the area. 3 carrier groups. We've increased our presence. We've stocked up. And if they want to FAFO, they're going to get blitzed way more than they did in the beginning. So Trump has got it all together. I mean, right now, the blockade is working brilliantly. There's been stories that some ships got through, but that's absolutely been debunked. Not one ship has gotten through from Iran. U.S. forces have directed 31 vessels now to return to port. This is a big deal. Why? First of all, when I saw that, some people are just counting and saying, well, that's interesting. But think about it. 31 times now they've tried to break the blockade. That's desperation. You're going against the best battleships in the world, the carriers of the world. Good luck. Good luck getting through this. But they're going to try. Why? Because those wells are their reserve wells are filling up. The clock is ticking on them. They cannot allow this to happen. Iran's running out of their storage. Once they stop pumping, it can damage the oil field production capacity. You can't flip the on-off switch on oil wells. If you stop, clogging happens. This can cause massive reduction in the amount of oil you get out of the oil well, requiring expensive and time-consuming rework. They say that on some of these wells, they've been pumped for so long that if you pull out, you stop it, it could be up to 10 years for some of them to come back online. That's how pressurized they are. That's how much oil's been sucked up to the surface through these pumps. And then it all depressurizes once you let them go. That's the death knell for the regime and their economy. And we're at the point where it's any day now. So why do I see 31 ships? They're probably filling them all up, loading up millions of barrels, trying to just find a place for all this oil and then trying to get them through. But it's not working. And eventually you're going to run out of barrels. You're going to run out of ships, and they're just going to be sitting there. Trump, man, this blockade is one of the most genius things he's done. decimated their military, and you got to think that and whispers are that maybe this weekend. But again, they're on the final countdown. They have very few days left. Trump today got the women that were scheduled to be executed. He got them freed. Very good news. I've been informed that the 8 women protesters going to be executed tonight will no longer be killed. 4 released immediately. 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. I very much appreciate that Iran's leaders respected my request. Now, it's kind of weird, right, that Trump would be touting the praises of Iran. It's even weirder that he'd trust them. But again, we have the satellite imagery. I have a feeling that when Trump's saying this stuff, he's letting them know we're watching. We're paying attention. We're tracking all this. I mean, after, when we rescued the soldier who got stuck over there, they had a device where from a mile away they could sense his heartbeat. It was crazy, and it acted as a GPS to lead them to it. We have technologies that we can't even fathom yet. Like Venezuela and Iran so far have showed us new technology. We got that laser that shoots drones down now. This stuff is crazy. It's like watching, it's like Star Trek. We're seeing more and more. Trump's just unveiling it. I wonder how much we're watching here. Because if they gave him their word on this, and then Trump's putting it out there, letting the world know, he's also saying, if you guys don't do it, if you betray me, I'm giving you the chance to trust. This is the art of the deal. You build trust. You give them a little win here and there. You build them up, and you keep going back and forth. Now, the problem is he's dealing with crazy psychopaths who are suicidal. So what's it matter? I don't know. I mean, he told them not to shoot protesters back in February, and they killed 40,000. So we don't know if these girls are going to be okay. But again, everything Trump does, there's reason to it. And I know there's still some people who think he just barks out anything that comes into his mind at any point, and that he's just lying like crazy. And that's fine. You can believe that all you want. But meanwhile, who's winning? Who's getting all the policies put in place? Who's in charge? Who's in charge of the country right now? Who won 2 elections? So you can act like the dumbest man alive is just beating you up all the time. So what does that say about you? It means you're a lot dumber than him. Or you could start to admit that at least even if you don't like it, he's always got something up his sleeve. This happened today, and it obviously has to do with our military and what's going on in Iran. But the Secretary of Navy, John Phelan, was fired today. There's been rumors of this for a while, that Hegseth had several people underneath him that were undermining the military. Which, again, I think Iran, this Iran thing, the more we learn, it is like the most 5D chess move ever. There are so many components to Iran, and one of them is exposure, because it's such a big deal, and it's such a blow to City of London, the deep state, that they deployed all assets, and that means everybody, they all poke their heads up out of the water. You got to see who everybody really was, and now we separate the chaff. We reap, and so. Says U.S. official tell me this has been brewing between Phelan, Hegseth, and Deputy Secretary Feinberg for months now. Phelan has been at odds with Deputy Secretary and Secretary since last year. He's been reluctant to make the changes within the Navy necessary to modernize the service. Why? Ask yourself why. Keep it back. Hold it back. Keep it 5 years, 10 years away from where we're supposed to be, which continues the lie that we are just as good as the rest of the world. The rest of the world's catching up to us. Don't unveil our best technologies. Don't show what we really have to offer. Don't equip our soldiers with the best stuff. Don't give them the full go-ahead to win. Always act weaker than we are. Trump's the first one to change that since Reagan. And even Reagan was more hamstrung by the deep state than Trump is. Trump's been able to fully unleash the military in ways we've never seen. At least not since World War II. The official adds Phelan struggled to get the Navy to increase shipbuilding numbers. He didn't recognize the chain of command at the department and did not run through leadership at the department. In other words, he didn't like Hegseth. A lot of them don't like Hegseth, but not because of who Hegseth is. Hegseth's doing a great job because they're liberals. And they were all told that Hegseth is a punk and he's a Fox News host. He has no business doing this. The military never went full woke, but they sure tried. And they implemented a lot of woke generals, woke colonels, you name it, woke lieutenants. They just put them all in there. And it's so they can subterfuge, they can undercut what the commander-in-chief wants done, what a secretary wants done. I was at Mar-a-Lago in December when Phelan joined President Trump for the announcement of 2 new Trump-class battleships, first in a Golden Fleet. He wasn't making progress, so the department decided to make a change. Based on protocol, the secretary would have to get the president's approval to dismiss him. This all comes during active conflict with Iran, which tells you it's a big deal to get rid of him. U.S. George Bush aircraft carrier has been deployed, set to arrive in the coming days, and that's why we haven't bombed yet again, by the way. That's why Trump extended the ceasefire. That, and to also see what they'll do when they run out of oil, when they can't pump the oil anymore. U.S. Ford likely to leave. It got a little damaged. But U.S. military is postured, ready to go. So this is a great post breaking it down, what we're seeing here. If Trump's approach to the Iran conflict seems confusing, this perspective might help. Trump views himself as the architect of a new global order where America is secure, prosperous, and no longer carries the burden of being the world's policeman. This is 100% true. And we're just seeing more and more people wake up to it. Again, Iran is also waking up people the other way. They're seeing how NATO has betrayed us. They're seeing how Europe isn't showing up at all. They're seeing how, they're seeing how people in their own country are refusing to support us, even though it's early in a skirmish. When every other war, at least in the first couple months we start, all of America got together. There's a rally around the flag moment. Not on this one. What does that tell you? Some's different. People know deep in their soul. Most people in America, we're proud to be American. Most of us. I know there's a crazy side. Absolutely. But they're not as big as, the media makes them out to be. Most people are proud. And this is why a lot of the Iran polls have still been pretty favorable. Trump's in the high 50s, low 60s a lot of times on the approval of stuff. But people want to get out. They are thankful he hasn't put boots on the ground. But it's an awakening project. And the one thing that I don't think anybody can make an argument about, a cohesive argument about, no one can tell me, I can't think of anybody being able to make an argument now that Trump is actually trying to create a world order, a technocracy. That is one of the big psyops going on out there. You got the left, which is just like authoritarian nonsense, blah, blah, blah. They just spew out whatever they can. They don't even have a cohesive argument. They just hate Trump. That's it. It's whatever he does, hate Trump. That's the cohesive argument. Trump bad. But then you have the PSYOP group, okay? The people in the kind of the muddled middle, but they're always black-pilled no matter who's in charge. And there's a reason for that, because they're either operatives directly impacted or they've believed the operatives coming from the deep states, MI6, the cabal, what and these people believe this narrative, this PSYOP, that Trump actually is implementing the New World Order. He's just one of them, and he's their chosen one to actually advance this. He's actually in cahoots with them. And there was never an argument for this, but you can kind of like make one up before Iran. Because before Iran, we hadn't completely cut off Europe yet. Before Iran, we hadn't shoved City of London out the door by taking over the shipping insurance, and cutting off, or well, you see how they're not getting involved at all. NATO, all that. It's so obvious now that Europe wants nothing to do with us in this operation. Why? If they were the globalists, if Trump was one of them, they'd be all in. Why is Trump, instead of creating this global technocracy where we're getting more stolen from, where America's getting weaker, why is all the oil coming out from us now and everybody's coming to us for our oil and natural gas? Why are we the ones getting richer as a result? Why are we growing stronger when everybody else is getting weaker right now? Literally everybody not aligned with us is getting weaker. Europe, EU, City of London, Deep State, Davos, China, Ukraine, all of our enemies. Our big enemies, anyways. You know who's actually getting stronger as a result of this, interestingly enough, is Russia. Russia's making a ton of money off these oil prices, and Trump allowed them to sell some of that oil unsanctioned. Interesting, right? Trump's playing 5D chess, but it's not what everybody thinks it is, at least in the black pill world. It's much, much better, and it's all about sovereignty, just like this person says. He believes lasting and low-cost security is achieved when strong, self-reliant partners take responsibility for their own regions based on mutual interests rather than dependency or control. The current global order, shaped by populist left-leaning governments and great power competition, has led to a form of soft colonialism in the world. Most of them are either poor because they chose socialism or communism. That's a guarantee right there. They are dictatorships that soak up all the power to the top, all the power and money to the top, like North Korea, or they've just been held down by the deep state. A lot of these African countries completely remain destabilized all the time because globalist City of London just raping these countries, pillaging them, stealing all their resources. This goes back centuries with France and England, going back to the colonial days. It never really stopped, guys. They just made it more of a financial empire instead of a boots on the ground military empire. It never really stopped. We're ending it. You guys realize what this is? Year 250? This is the year Trump is finishing the American Revolution. That's what it is. Because we broke free of the British monarchy. We broke free of their empire. And they weren't happy. So they started getting their claws back into us through debt, through trade deals, various aspects. Just kept going. America would get in trouble. England would come in with debt. They tried to take us over again, 1812. Didn't work. But they never stopped trying. They got their grips back into us. They got us to set up central banks. They got us tied into this globalist financial system that was run with City of London as its hub. And they've maintained that ever since. And World War II was when we created the special relationship. All of a sudden, Britain was officially no longer, we didn't hold them at arm's length anymore. We fully embraced them. And we fully embraced globalism with the creation of the UN. And then it became NATO with Soviet Union. And what happened is we, the richest, most powerful nation, kept being taken advantage of over and over again. We became their puppet. And then it became install certain leaders. And we had a couple that weren't. And then we had others that died trying to be independent leaders. But they just kept getting their grips in over and over again. Now we're at the inflection point. Like, it's the 250th, and there's a reason Trump chose Iran. Iran is one of the most critical points in the world due to strategic location, energy resources, regional influence. Russia, China, and Europe have long benefited from the status quo, effectively plundering Iran's resources, while Arab states profit from continued tension with Israel by removing potential competitors. And all that filters up. For the Iranian people, the current regime is a disaster, yet for much of the world, status quo serves their interest, which is true. Why do you think everybody's so mad we finally went into Iran? Why do you think we were psyoped for decades to believe that Iran was impenetrable, that you just couldn't go there? Why? They didn't want us to screw it up. They didn't want us to stir the pot. They didn't want the American people to think it was possible. So let it be. We'll just sanction them. Well, if we were sanctioning them, why was UK making so much money off of them? I thought we had a special relationship. They never stopped. It's crazy stuff. Trump's vision upends this arrangement. He seeks a genuine win-win outcome, controlled and stable transition in Iran that removes the threat with minimum long-term damage to the country itself. He has military power to destroy the regime rapidly and brutally if he chose to. He's deliberately pursuing a slower, more measured path with strategic patience. His goal is not just regime change, but to enable a stronger, more stable, productive Iran to emerge, one that can stand on its own and contribute to a new, balanced global order. And it just accomplishes so much. Weakening China, weakening City of London, globalists. I mean, it's just putting us in prime position. And it's also taking away the destabilization of the Middle East while also getting all the other countries to sign peace deals with Israel, which then keeps us out of the nonstop getting sucked into wars and getting blaming Israel for it. Israel in this will get set free as well, because Israel's not the big bad. They're controlled, not fully controlled, but there's parts of it controlled. MI6, certain leaders. Mossad is controlled by MI6, and it just round and round we go. So here's what's happening with China, and this never would have happened without Iran. Let's let Jesse talk.
China? If Trump confronted China, CNN would be against it and probably take China's side. And trust me, the United States never running out of ammo. If it's an emergency, like a real emergency, Trump will just tell Home Depot, you know those lawnmowers? Make them into drones. China's watched their proxy in Venezuela get flown in his PJs to a jail cell in Manhattan. Their other proxy in Iran got whacked in the first 40 seconds of the war. 2 countries Beijing can't buy cheap sanctioned oil from anymore. Now they have to pay full price. And now they're buying a lot more from us. They're also watching the U.S. Navy gain footholds in trade choke points that their country relies on for survival. And what kind of allies are China if they can't even lift a finger to help their friends? Iran's the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism, and without money, their terror proxies aren't getting paid. Seems like a smart way to fight the war on terrorism. I remember when all politicians were gung-ho about that war.
It's almost as if, we've forgotten on the Democratic side that the real enemy, the real threat, the real danger is Iran and its proxies.
Be one thing if Democrats were hoping.
Who would have thought that Fetterman would become the one voice of reason on the left? That's so crazy. I did not see that coming when he was just lumbering Frankenstein after his stroke. But this is huge. First of all, where'd you guys hear it first? Maybe you didn't hear it from me first, but as far as I know, I was one of the first people talking about how weak China actually is. Did a whole video on it, posted it last week. China is not the threat we were told it was. It just isn't. And it doesn't mean they haven't done stuff. It doesn't mean they haven't done bad stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I am not supporting them. I am not condoning the bad things they've done. I don't condone how they've stolen our IP or undercut us and gotten their grips in all these countries and just done terrible things as far as terrible things, human rights violations, so on and so forth. They've been doing horrible things, but they're not powerful in the sense that we were taught. We were taught that they were our rival, that they were our arch enemy, that we couldn't fight them. They were the great red dragon. It was going to overtake us. That's Alex Jones and Steve Bannon. They've been yelling that for years. And what we're finding is they're a paper tiger. Their military nowhere is strong. Their economy is collapsing. They can't even help their buddies out because their stuff sucks. They got Timu missiles and Timu air defense. That's why we wiped out Venezuela and Iran like that. No problemo. That's against China's defenses that they sent them. Also, Jesse calling out Venezuela and Iran as proxies of China. That's crazy. And it's only partially true. China was using Iran and Venezuela, absolutely. And I think you could make the stronger case Venezuela was a proxy of China, but City of London was definitely, Iran's definitely a proxy state of City of London first and foremost. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming. However, they still were selling oil to China dirt cheap. They were buying weapons from China. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot there. China, one of the things keeping up their economy is that cheap oil. That's no longer there. China's in big trouble. And notice in all of this, when our military is engaged, all these places, we are focused. We're having all this political tension at home. You would think that America right now would be considered the most distracted it's been in a long time. Wouldn't this be the time to take Taiwan? Why aren't they? Are they capable? I mean, maybe they're capable, probably, if they put all their assets into it. But what are they afraid of? Either it's going to be too much for them and they just can't stomach it right now. They can't handle it because the economy is so weak. Their military is so weak. Or they're just that scared of us because they're that far under us, that far behind us, that they don't dare even try. And that just tells you that China is nowhere near what we all were told. Not at all. And it never was, but Trump has substantially weakened them. Substantially weakened them since coming back. Look at this. This chart from the Financial Times tells you about their future in GDP. Top chart shows working age populations for China, US, and India from 1950 to 2100. By 2100, it converges around 200 million workers. U.S. barely moves. India keeps climbing well past China. Bottom chart's more alarming. It shows the share of population key productive age range of 15 to 64. China's line is already falling faster than Japan, Europe, and the U.S. By 2100, it's projected to drop to roughly 40%, lowest of any major economy shown. China is dying, folks. They're dying in every single sense of the word. Their GDP is collapsing. Their real estate empire is collapsing. And now they've killed themselves in the fertility range where the birthing is. It's now a critical point where they are projected over the next. This was supposed to be the country that overtook us by 2030. That was the psyop going on the last 10 years. China was going to overtake us. Even in the Christian world, there were prophets. Beware the red dragon, the rise of China. The end of days is coming, and blah, 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 blah. I know I can make fun of these people because I'm one of them. I just didn't believe that nonsense. But there are a lot of people who believe that. Nope. You know, you can make a very strong argument that right now, today, America is the strongest it's ever been comparatively to the rest of the world. I know it doesn't feel it. We're not thriving here the way we've had at a couple other stages in our life, like the 50s or the 80s or going back even further. Lots of times in the 1800s, we had roaring economies. I mean, things were awesome. And, you know, there were ups and downs for sure, but it was always trending up in America. We've been stalled economically for the last couple decades because the deep state just got its grips into us so much, and we farmed out all of our manufacturing, and it eroded us to the point where the millennial generation, my generation, is the first generation in American history that is on pace to have less wealth than the generation before us. Gen X. Every single other generation in history was more successful than the previous generation when it comes to finances and assets. The millennial generation is the first generation in history projected to have less. Now, I think Trump could change all that. if this economy does what it does, and we could get back to where every generation does better than the one previously. That is America. And that's incredible that we never had a generation that skipped before until this one. But, my friends, even with that said, the rest of the world's in a much worse place. There's no one who can mess with us anymore. Not even close. Because China was the big bad. China was the one country where, like, man, financially, they could overtake us. Man, that military, we'd never want to deal with that. And now we're finding out they're pathetically weak compared to us. And that's all that matters, because we're here and they're not. Putin had this to say today as well.
Thirdly, they have no peace agenda. They are warmongers.
He's talking about the EU.
Even when they are trying, allegedly, to introduce some changes, some adjustments to the President Trump's proposal, all these changes have only one goal in mind. They are aimed at blocking and putting to a halt this peace process. They are trying to make demands that are unacceptable for Russia, and they understand this, and then later they would try to blame Russia, accuse Russia of stopping this peace process. This is their objectives, and we can clearly see that. That's why, well, if they want to go back to the reality, considering the reality on the ground, then they are welcome.
That was not the best translator, but the point's clear. Putin's calling out City of London, the deep state. He does this all the time. He hasn't used the word City of London, but he's called them a deep state before. He's always referring to the EU. Europe has always, between England and France, especially, who's run most of Europe, and then Germany, always hated the Russians. This goes back centuries. There's a wonderful book by I can't remember his name right now, but he wrote a book about how basically the UK created communism and the Bolsheviks to basically end Russia, and it kind of backfired on them. But it's very compelling evidence. I'm not saying it's 100% true, but the evidence is compelling. But the point is this. Russia was one of our biggest allies in the 1800s. Did you guys know that? Russia, in the Civil War, was ready to help the North. They were on standby. They were watching England and France, who were ready to help the South because they wanted America to fall apart. Russia sent us troops during the Revolutionary War. Russia has been our ally several times until the Soviet Union. Traditionally, if you go back the full 250 years and not just the last 100, out of the 250 years of our history, we have a longer period of time where we were close to Russia than we do with the UK. They were our great enemy. Britain was our great enemy. And I kind of think it's the same now. And I'm not even saying Putin's a great guy, because he's not. But I will say this. Putin only cares about Russia. And he hates how the EU, how City of London's been wanting to pillage his country and destroy his country. He came in, fixed in the 1990s after the Soviet Union fell apart. Russia was starving. Their economy was crashing. The oligarchs were allowed to go in and pillage, and they were being funded by UK. Bill Clinton was over there helping them out. They were just purging Russia, and the idea was put up puppet presidents who would allow all this to continue, and we would just keep pillaging Russia of all of its resources and turn them into a third world country. Putin came in when Russians were starving in the late 90s and said no more. And what happened after that? With no evidence whatsoever he ever wanted to bring back the Soviet Union, no evidence whatsoever he ever wanted to go communist, we immediately labeled him as a Soviet. We immediately labeled him as the great enemy. And now when you look back through the lens of our history, it all makes sense why we were all taught to hate Putin and Russia. Trump, meanwhile, is meeting Putin in Alaska. He continually refuses to let Ukraine get boosted up. Weaken Ukraine. Now, this hasn't ended yet, and this tells me that Putin and Trump, even though they have plans to be allies later, they're not like best friends. Putin's going to do what he thinks best for Russia. Trump's going to do what he thinks best for the U.S. But they are allied, at least against the deep state. And I think Trump is helping Russia right now power back up to end this war with Ukraine. And I think Iran, when it's over, it won't be long till Russia-Ukraine ends. And then, my friends, the EU and City of London are going to be in the worst place they've ever been. Weakened, without our military might backing them up anymore. Trump is going to severely, if not pull out of NATO completely, he's going to limit how we interact with NATO. We're already talking about moving bases out to other countries that are in the Board of Peace, which is going to be the new UN, and it's going to be a board of sovereign nations, no longer trying to be this globalist deep state, Davos fantasy world government. It's going to be sovereign nations coming together to solve problems. That's the difference. We're not looking at one world anymore like the UN was all about. Notice the difference in the language. Board of Peace. A board is where individuals sit down, solve problems, versus the United Nations. Nations coming together to be one world. There's reasons for that language. But I'm telling you, in a couple years after Ukraine and Russia, this whole thing's over. I have a feeling Russia's going to become one of our greatest economic allies. We're going to be, it's going to be oil and minerals and all kinds of resources going back and forth. And we're right next to them with Alaska. It's not going to be hard. So watch for that, because I think there's going to be a lot of wealth that's brought out of that. And when you think about how Trump is positioning us with all this energy and how he's decoupled us from, when he went to Davos in February, he let them know globalization's over. Howard Lutnick flat out said on stage, the age of globalization is over. We're decoupling from that. We're killing this one world government attempt. They didn't get there, but they tried. The attempt is now over. Everything against this, it's like the proof is overwhelming. There's no technocracy coming from Trump. Trump is all about sovereignty all the time. And that, my friends, is why they're so mad about us going into Iran. So now we wait and see how he pulls this off. But I can tell you, just like Trump himself says, I believe him. There's no time pressure on the ceasefire because we're sitting pretty. We hold all the cards, and we just get to watch. Nothing can stop what is coming, friends. I believe that fully on this. All right. Let's before I get on to the next segment, we're going to get into more of the fraud coming out from the SCPLA. But let me get into the chat. Just make sure I didn't miss anybody. If anybody was trying to get my attention, I thought I saw at least one tag, and it's gone. It doesn't let me go back all the way. I hate how it does that. But somebody said earlier when I was talking about it, I think I saw that the peace deals with Israel won't hold. And the only thing I'd say to that is like, well, they've held so far. All the Abraham Accords is held for 8 years now. So, I don't know. I think it's going to hold just fine. I'm not too worried about it. Ellen says, notice Zelensky's now running to the EU to ask they protect him from mean orange man. He always has been. He's so pathetic. Lochtefeld says Tucker's a fink. Yeah. Yeah, he is. I love it. Let's see here. Cyber Kitty, I believe Russia never accepted Rothschild banking cartel and globalist deep state seems to want war with them. Well, 100%. Yeah, Russia always stayed sovereign. Russia was sovereign with the czars, okay? They had the czarship, Nicholas, and it went back further than that, obviously, but Russia always remained sovereign. And Russia was like, we're Russian. We're very different. It's a very different culture from everybody else. I mean, you know, Russian literature, Russian music, Russian architecture. It's all very different from the rest of Europe. They always stayed different. They never had any of that influence come in. They always just remained themselves until the Soviets came. And then the Soviets just tore so much of the beauty out of Russia. And Russia's just been rebuilding ever since. But Russia truly is one of the great nations in history. And I think Putin just wants to get back to that. But the city of London doesn't like it because they're right next door. And Russia has, I think if you take the whole landmass of Russia, they probably have more resources than any other country on the planet. Now, I could be wrong about that, but it's close if I'm wrong, if they're not number one. Taya says, I kind of like Russia. Russians like Putin, therefore he must not be as bad as Hillary says. Yeah, right? Well, think about everybody who hates Putin the most. Hillary, Obama, from America. George Bush. George Bush is one of the big old deep staters, even though he's Republican. So crazy. Bove says, Russia is Christian capitalism society like ours. Any wonder the deep state Dems, EU are against Russia? Yeah, I mean, and there is a lot of similarities. I'd say Russia's even more Christian than we are. The only thing that's different is that Russia is full-on authoritarian. I mean, Putin is an authoritarian president. And, you know, we don't agree with that here. But honestly, most Russians like it. I had the weirdest experience 20 years ago, okay? This is before I met my wife. And I was just, you know, a young 22-year-old kid. And these Russian girls were visiting with a family from my church, my parents' church. And so these Russian girls were staying with a family there, and they were my age and, you know, my friend's age, so they would hang out with us. And we'd get to talk to them and ask them all these questions about Russia. And they were like, even then, this was 2002. This is about 2005, 2006. Even then, they were like, Russia, yeah, it's like we like it here, but we go out to nightclubs, we hang out, it's very normal, and it did not sound like a dictatorship, oppressive state. They made Russia sound pretty awesome, and I guess you could make the argument that they get in trouble, but I'm like, I don't think you get Chinese people coming here and freely living with American families and being able to be that free. It just seemed very different. We were really because at that point, that was right when Russia had invaded Georgia, and George Bush had, was having tense words with Putin at the Olympics and all that stuff. And it was like, dude, this Russia is pretty crazy. I thought Putin was awful back then, So anyways, but that's my Russia story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm also a quarter Russian, so I have roots there. Ellen says Putin was trying to join NATO under Bush and Clinton. CIA said no. Yeah. Well, and also we shouldn't even have NATO. NATO was only developed to be an alliance against the spread of Soviet Union, which, at the time made sense. Soviet Union was taking over all these other countries and spreading, and communism. It was terrible. But once it was gone, there's no need for NATO anymore, except for it gave Europe an excuse to no longer build real armies anymore. They have special forces and stuff like that, but they don't have real militaries. All of Europe combined has less than 50% the capacities of our military. That tells you how weak they are. I'm going to tell you the EU is Magog. No, I'm not going to tell you the EU is Magog. Magog is nothing. Magog is a fantasy about the future. I know it's talked about in the Bible, but it's about stuff back then. It has nothing to do with the future. People who don't know their Bible well enough think it does, but yeah, it's sad. NATO's welfare for weaklings. Yep. Stalin and Lenin were completely owned and controlled by Khazarian mafia. Russia, not so much. I mean, the Russian people were never into all that, They just weren't. Prying Paula says, let me rephrase. Name a country has any really global standing that has a president like Putin or Trump. name a country as global standing as a president like Putin or Trump? What? I'm sorry. I'm so confused by your question. Robert Pierpont says, Putin is a Soviet. He was KGB. He loved the USSR and wants that back. Okay, Robert. Tell me, Robert, Putin's been in charge now for almost 30 years. And other than like annexing Crimea and a couple of excursions here and there, what has Putin done to expand the empire? And what has Putin done that's communist? Can you name anything? No, because you bought a psyop and you believe a psyop. Go learn your Russian history. You have no idea what you're talking about, but God bless you anyways. Oh, sorry, Paul. I did. Everyone thinks Russia's MAGA because Moscow's North of Jerusalem. I know, and they're all wrong. A lot of people are terrible with end times eschatology. It's but you can go watch my Bible videos if you want to learn about that. I'm not getting into it tonight. It'll take up the whole night. Was I honeypotted by the girls? You'd like to know, wouldn't you, rum dog? Hey, comrade? You think this is tea I'm drinking, comrade? This is vodka. It was a good honeypot. Oh, my God. Yeah, the Russians never moved to overthrow their government. They're fine with Putin. They don't all like him. I mean, he's done some bad stuff. But overall, like, they feel safe with Putin in charge, and their economy is, for the most part, fine. It's struggled a little bit since the Ukraine war, but, it's definitely better than it was. All right. Anyways, I'm going to have to get on to another segment. Oh, you guys, man, making me laugh. We're going down the rabbit hole here. See, listen, I am not afraid of controversial subjects, and I'm a very opinionated person on stuff I've studied. I've earned it. Doesn't mean I'm 100% right, and I'm always open to new information. But here's the problem I have with a lot of these arguments, okay? A lot of the time, I get the arguments brought to me that I already used to believe. Like, I was where some of you guys were with Russia. I was where some of you guys were with end time stuff. I believed that stuff for years. And then I kept studying and doing the work and growing in my knowledge, and I grew out of it because I got better knowledge and stuff that made more sense. And so I've moved past that stuff. And so when you guys bring it up to me as the argument, I bring you the counter argument, and you bring me nothing back except to say, well, that's crazy, or, you're wrong, or just repeat the argument. I'm like, we have nothing to talk about. I'm opinionated on the stuff I've studied. I always will be. And that's what makes me good at what I do. But I'm also always learning. But you're going to have to bring me new information if you want me to go back to where I was. Russia, Putin, I used to believe he was the Soviet that still wanted to expand the USSR. I learned differently. And the history of Russia proved to me differently. Now, if you have better evidence, fine. But if all you do is throw at me a talking point that I used to believe and I no longer do because I have more evidence to counteract that, I'm not going to go back there. And it's the same. And I do this all the time. And this is what, and I appreciate you guys for being respectful in the disagreement. And I am the one in the chair who gets with the mic, who gets to talk a lot more. So it's not quite fair. I get all that. And if you want to really debate stuff, let's go on the members' lives and we'll have, spirited debate. But the point is that I don't say anything that I don't believe and have reasons for that belief. And if I say something that really counteracts, like, you got to remember, I grew up in the church, evangelical Christian. I believed all that stuff, the typical evangelical Christian beliefs, okay, in America. And not only that, I grew up Republican, like Reagan, Bush Republican. So I believed all that stuff, all and I've evolved in my beliefs. I've learned more, and I didn't, I wasn't indoctrinated. I just read books. I read books and did research. And and that, I come to different conclusions, and that's okay, and I believe everybody should do that. But because of those things, I will say controversial stuff, and and I get it, because it's stuff that I would have thought was crazy 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm not afraid of controversy. Controversy is good. If you're offended, though, it means that, like, you know, maybe there's something there. Maybe you're offended because you don't have the counter argument. And anyways, come to this show and I'll say the controversial takes and I will back them up. And then if you got better information, I'll believe it. But don't just like repeat to me like the same old talking points. I'm just, that's not what I do. And I don't think that's why people watch me either. Dan says, I'm not talking about you, Dan. I'm just talking in general. I'm not even talking about anybody specifically. What are you angry about, Dan? Why are you so angry? Dude, it's okay. We're just having a good time here on YouTube. You don't need to be angry. Seth, do you know about the history between the Vatican and the Orthodox Church? No. I mean, I know the split and so on and so forth, but I don't know any deeper history than that. That's something I actually haven't studied. Chernobyl had a lot to do with the collapsing of the USSR, which, by the way, the miniseries Chernobyl on HBO is fan-freaking-tastic. They didn't wokeify it. They didn't leftify it. Like, it is just fantastic series, epic television, history. It's great. I recommend everybody watch it who's interested in history. Okay. All right, we need to get moving. All right, let's get into it. SPLC busted last night by the FBI and the DOJ in one of the biggest anti-left-wing, anti-corruption in our government stories that we've seen in a long time. It's not getting enough coverage. For one, the left-wing media, the Mockingbird media, they don't want us to really know about this, because it's very detrimental. It's the kind of story that seeds doubts in the institutions. They don't want that. But this is the beginning, because the SPLC is like it's like one of the venerated institutions of the left. And for Cash and Todd Blanche and and them all to go after it is a big freaking deal. It's also, not everybody knows about it, because it's like USAID. Very few people knew about it until they took it away. Nobody really knew what it did. You might have heard about it at some point. It's like the political junkie kind of stuff, but it matters. And this is a massive story. So Data Republican, who, listen, if you're on X and you're not following Data Republican, what are we even doing here? What are we even doing? This woman who is deaf and mute and autistic is also one of the most excellent researchers that's ever been born, at least in modern times. This woman is incredible. And every time she puts stuff together, she got receipts. And she has yet to be proven wrong on anything I've ever seen her do. But she goes on a deep dive on SPLC. And this is just wild. So this is how the Charlottesville rally and SPLC birthed an entire $1 billion plus democracy ecosystem. 11 federal counts, wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. Here's what SPLC headlines are missing. The indictment describes paid informant and leadership chat that planned Unite the Right. The informant helped coordinate transportation to the rally at SPLC's direction. There is one publicly identified organizer whose documented role was transportation coordinator. His Discord posts about running over protesters were made 28 days before Heather Heyer killed in a car. Indictment says postings were made under supervision of SPLC. Charlottesville then became the founding event for $1 billion political machine. It's even the reason Joe Biden said he ran, because of the stupid Charlottesville hoax. The fine people hoax, as Scott Adams labeled it. God rest his soul. I miss Scott, man. I miss him so much. SPLC installed itself as the machine's definitional gatekeeper. I report, you draw your own conclusions. As always, patience as I pull off the thread, but just crazy. And this is long, so I'm just gonna do the abridged version. If you really want to dig into all of her stuff, please go to her page on X. But let's get down some of this meat here. Charlottesville became the single most consequential founding event in modern American political infrastructure. Every one of these organizations says in their own words they exist or were transformed because of August 12, 2017. They used this staged white supremacist event, mingling with the people, where they tried to get Trump on it and turn the whole nation against him, try to prove that he's a white supremacist Nazi, using Charlottesville. This is a big freaking deal. Stand Together Knox says August 12th was a tipping point. Koch, Soros, Ford, ADL in one coalition because of Charlottesville. Did you see this? The Koch brothers and George Soros together. Koch brothers, major funders of Republicans for decades. The uniparty Republic, crazy left. Why are these guys in bed together? Oh, but Trump is one of them. Trump, he's just... Nothing is ever going to be good, guys, because Trump is actually the real bad guy. Obama was bad, sure, but Trump is worse. He's a technocrat globalist, even though they all hate him. Don't ask me to explain it. I can't. I just know. Thank you, Whitney Webb. ADL founded Communities Overcoming Extremism, the After Charlottesville Project, Anti-Defamation League. Listen First Project. Tragic events in Charlottesville, Virginia compelled Pierce to leave his marketing job and invest full time. First event, Listen First in Charlottesville. This is crazy. I mean, I had no idea all these groups built off of it. Integrity First for America, founded 2017, single purpose, sue, unite the right organizers. Backed at founding by LinkedIn's Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman backed. Buddies with Epstein, creator of LinkedIn, one of the biggest guys in the tech world. If you wanted a startup in the 2000s, you went to Reid Hoffman. He was the guy who got you off the ground. He helped you out all over Silicon Valley. Also, one of the worst ties or deepest ties to Epstein, along with Bill Gates and a few others. And this is the guy who hates Donald Trump. Oh, but Donald Trump a technocrat. Then why is Mr. Technocrat himself anti-Trump? Because you're retarded. Sorry, but it's true. Retards everywhere. Watch out. Wound down, one event, one lawsuit, one entire organization. UVA Democracy Initiative, now Karsh Institute, $12.9 million for 17 donors. Direct response to the white supremacist attacks in Charlottesville. This is all, and SPLC started all this. All that traces back to one event. Oops. Then in September 22, Biden held United We Stand Summit. Merrick Garland launched on the Unite Against Hate same day. 3 days before the summit, SPLC wrote a letter to Susan Rice. Susan Rice! One of the architects of Obama, asking to define the terms of our goals of our continued collaboration. Ecosystem listened. National Civic League webinar, Mapping America's Healthy Democracy Ecosystem. Over 10,000 organizations cataloged. Crazy. I don't have time to, we don't have time to go through all of it. And listen to the clip, but org that defined who as a hate group asked the White House to make that role permanent. That org set the standards the entire ecosystem adopted, is now charged with paying the people it was tracking. The org whose informant was allegedly in the planning chat for the event and justified building the machine raised $132 million in the fiscal year, include Charlottesville. Southern Poverty Law Center sitting on $477 million. These are some of the worst people in the world, especially in America. This is insanity. I mean, it's one of those, once you see it, you can't unsee it things. Data says at the end, we need to ask if the organization at the center of America's entire post-Charlottesville democracy infrastructure had a supervised informant, or worse, agent provocateur, inside the event justified building that infrastructure, what does that make that infrastructure? Fraudulent. This is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. SPLC and this whole white supremacist psyop they constructed. I mean, who was afraid of white supremacists in the 90s? Do you guys remember that? I don't remember it. I remember it being like a fantasy like joke, you know, in movies. It didn't come about till Obama. And this is why. Pit them against each other, pit them against the American people, and radicalize your side more and more. And the SPLC was the head of this snake of all these organizations. Think of all these organizations, all the money they put together, all the organization, all the volunteers, all the people they reached. They single-handedly since 2017 probably helped indoctrinate and radicalize 1 million people or more. That's what a big deal it is going after the SPLC. Thank you, Data Republican. You are the best. Here's Cash today, the day after getting the SPLC.
Money doesn't lie. The charity that supposedly fought the Klan funded the Klan. The charity that supposedly fought neo-Nazis funded neo-Nazis. The Southern Poverty Law Center ran a methodical, calculated scheme to defraud their donor base of $3 million and lied to them and used an illicit banking structure system to create shell companies to hide their money and who it was being sent to, specifically for the reason to sow discord and hate into our society. This is the ultimate definition of hypocrisy. And if you look at the indictment produced by the Department Fund, at least 8 hate groups they supposedly wanted to take out, but they were paying the very villains of our society they supposedly wanted to protect us from.
So crazy. You know, when you think to yourself in your day-to-day life, like, you know, most Americans are cool. You can hang out with them. They get along, you know, on a one-to-one basis. And then you see what's on the news, and you see the insanity, and you see the crazy people doing stuff, and you see how they treat each other, or, you know, and it's like, where's all this coming from? Now we know. We were trending away from hate. Like the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, America was, you know, for the most, we always had disagreements. Don't get me wrong. There was always crazy people. Nothing like today, though. And you know what they always blame? They always blame the internet. And don't get me wrong. Some of it, there's some truth to that. A little bit. There's a little bit of truth to that. But it's how they use the internet, how they use the algorithms that really is the problem. And social media is actually a much worse culprit than the internet in general. But you know why they would attack the internet in general? They wanted you scared. Why? Because the internet is where we got free to find knowledge. The internet made it so they could no longer hide anymore. And they were scared of us using it. They wanted us to distrust it. No. Come back into your living rooms. Come back and watch ABC nightly. Come back and watch CNN. You can't believe what you find on the internet. No, sorry. And we're at the point we are now. You know, Elon set X free, and now it's the best place. But it's not like information wasn't getting out there before. It just wasn't as fast and as accessible. You had to go, you know, a little more deep diving. You had to work a little harder. So less people did it. It was still out there. And they didn't want anybody finding it out, though. And so it's been slowly whittling away at them. But now that it's mainstream to be able to get information, good information easily. Now that it's mainstream, that psyops don't last more than a couple hours sometimes. They get struck down almost immediately. Fake stories just they're debunked so quick. It's wild. Now that that's mainstream, guys, we're never going back. Do you understand that? Like the cat has been let out of the bag. Pandora's box has been opened for the deep state. The people now have access to real information, and we won't let them take it away from us. It's over. That's not going to happen again. They might try. And if we'd had Kamala, they would have tried harder than ever. And they might have had some temporary success, at least beating it back. But there's too many people awake now. We would have had a revolution at some point. It might have taken 20, 30 years, but we'd get there. Kamala would have ruined us completely for a time. Absolutely. But now that we got 4 more years of Trump and more people are awake and more things have been rolled back, more freedom has occurred, they can't undo this. Now they're going to raise hell. And if by some way they dupe enough people in 2028 to take back this country, which I don't see happening, but if they somehow did, what they will do is they will stage their own revolution. It won't be a peaceful government that just comes in and does a few more regulations here and there. They won't go back to the way where they were building it slow, because they can't do that anymore. Too many people are awake. It will be an obliteration. It will be just authoritarianism. It will be what just happened in Virginia when Spamberger, the moderate, came in and just brought in one of the most radical leftist agendas in the first 90 days that we've ever seen and completely changed that state. That's what'll happen, but nationwide and at a deeper level. James Carville's already told us. But we'll fight back, and it'll get bad. I think if the Democrats come in 2028 and the push they make, if they do what they're saying they're going to do, there's going to be a civil war of some sort. It'll get gross because there's too many people awake to accept it now. So, but I don't think we're going to get there. I don't. I'm much more hopeful than that. I think what Trump is doing is setting the stage so that we don't go back, and instead we just keep moving forward for years to come and weed them out. But look at the crazy stuff this place was doing. The indictment against the SPLC alleges they created a sole prop called Center Investigative Agency, also known as the CIA. They created their own CIA. That's just wild. Democrat panic over FBI Director Kash Patel hunting their criminal behavior is making more sense by the minute, says Dilly. Look at the New York Post headline. Southern Poverty Law Center backers include Soros, JP Morgan, George Clooney, and OpenAI. Oh, that's interesting. Crazy who's all in on this. No wonder. This was one of their pet projects, making a lot of problems. Nick Fuentes, look at old young Nick here. This is when he was discussing going to Charlottesville for the Unite the Right rally. Huh.
What we're doing with Unite the Right is let's put every important person in our movement in one place, and everyone sees us as a...
Remember when the indictment said a certain someone was paid to bus people in, bring people into the Unite the Right rally? Huh. Yeah. I'm 95% certain it was Nick. Sorry, Groypers. Oh, did I hurt your feelings? This means the entire Groyper movement is a lie. I like that one. I hate the Groyper movement. I don't hate Groyper people on an individual basis. They've just been deceived, but that movement is pure evil. Pure evil, ruining young boys. Political left is responsible for the American race relations. We talked about this a little bit last night. Well, now I got some data to back up what we talked about. They use their proxies and organizations like BLM and SPLC to generate fake controversies and media monopoly to spread these stories. They use their influence over corporations and universities to discriminate using affirmative action DEI. Result, a more divided America. There should be accountability. Modern racism is largely the fault of the left. Time to be honest about it. Look at this. The frequency in popular U.S. newspapers, racist, and racism. There's a frequency of how these words were used. Look at the 80s and 90s. There's a little bit of a bump in the 90s, probably when rap music was like at its peak, which was another CIA creation, hip hop. But look at how low it was in the 80s when The Cosby Show was the #1 show in America. Bill Cosby did some bad stuff, but he did defeat racism for a whole decade. You got to give that to him. Early 2000s, somebody mentioned that. It went to its lowest point during the Bush era. Oh, and then Obama comes in right here. Right there. And look at that. Obama, hope and change. You know what he brought about? Racism, communism, leftism, gayism, fagism, all the isms, retardism. That's what Obama brought in, and that's insane. We were a healing country. We had almost completely healed race relations. Obviously, there were pockets. Don't get me wrong. There's always been racists, and there always will be, okay? There's always going to be idiots. But as far as a nation is concerned, we had almost fully healed from the civil rights era. And Obama undid all of it. Well, not all of it, but he undid a large portion of it. And look how crazy it's gotten again. I mean, anyways, I don't know if I want to do that on YouTube, but we might have to have a members live on Rumble sometime where we go deep into the race stuff. It's but yeah, it gets very controversial. More exposure coming for Act Blue as well. It's all happening at the same time, whether, SPLC, Act Blue, so on and so forth. Act Blue's magic mortgage scandal is bigger than anyone imagined. I'm Sean Taylor, former assistant police chief in Tennessee, owner of FTG Solutions. We've uncovered hundreds of billions in suspicious loans funneled through NGOs straight into the DNC and every radical left cause. Prime example, former Act Blue CEO Regina Wallace-Jones secured $67 million in mortgages on a single home assessed under $1 million. Got to get the pocketbooks, though, guys. That's how we do it. We have to take out their money. And this is what makes Trump so smart and how he's dealing with this. You take out the money, it all starts fizzling away, and then you can get the people at the top once you've got all the transactions, everything recorded, and then the indictments come, just like what we just saw happen yesterday with the SPLC. That will happen. But before that, you start draining up the funds. And it starts killing the organizations, killing their reach, just like with USAID. There's a lot that's changed since we dried that up. And it's going to only continue. So now we know why they went after cash. The Atlantic ran defamatory hit piece on FBI director, and the owner of the Atlantic is obsessed with the SPLC. You don't say. Love the SPLC? Laureen Powell Jobs, who owns the Atlantic through her philanthropy. She learned of the work of the Southern Poverty Law Center and dipped into her savings, sent a cashier's check of $20. She got a form thank you letter back. They'd write to me a couple times a year. Oh, yeah, you know what else about her? She's friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. You can't make this stuff up, guys. This is crazy. That's how they're all connected. It always ties together. It's the craziest freaking thing. So, John Solomon now reporting, predicting the SPLC case is only the beginning of what's coming from this DOJ. I'm not going to play this clip today as it's 3 minutes and I still got much more to do. But he does say, I think we're about to enter into a period of MAAA, Make America Accountable Again. I think with Pam Bondi moving aside, speed at which Justice Department will move on things that have been working in the system for months is picking up. In the summer and fall, we're going to talk a lot more about a case called Operation Round River. Goal to neutralize anyone who would dare suggest there was corrupt relationship between Joe, Hunter Biden, and the Ukrainian government. All the people I've talked to in government think the Round River may be the most jaw-dropping of the 4 codename investigations targeted Trump and his followers. Whew. I'm ready. I'm ready for some exposure, folks. I'm excited. The Democrats now are going full after cash, though, because of the Atlantic piece, which tells me they're really scared about what's coming. In this, they signed a letter, a probe of Kash Patel. These glimpses of your relationship to alcohol would be alarming to see in an FBI agent. It's shocking in an FBI director. Nobody's seen it with alcohol. It was just a hit piece. House Democrats launch a probe of Kash, asking Kash to complete a 10-question alcohol use disorders ID test. Nice probe. Hey, fill out this form. Don't you lie. These people are so stupid. And yet, there's a bunch of Democrats somewhere cheering this on. Good job, guys. Go get them. Chuck Schumer is going all out. I think Chucky's scared. If Kash Patel wants to keep partying, he can do it somewhere else, but he must resign from the FBI immediately. My God. These people are pathetic. Another one. Kash Patel must be fired or forced to resign now. Because Michael Schmidt is parroting the lies about Kash and his girlfriend. These people are stupid, man. They're so pathetic. They're stupid but clever. And the problem is, again, we now have X, the easy information, access to the real information. It's just so easy to debunk this all now that they no longer get anybody over. This is all playing to their base all the time. That's what politics has become. Play to your base all the time. You don't have to get anything done. You just have to keep them there, keep them crazy until you maybe get back into power and can make moves. But this is absolutely pathetic. So it tells you who's winning, and it's not them. All right, let's get on to the next segment here in a second. But guys, if you don't mind, hit that like, smash that subscribe. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you. Hit the repost if you're on X. Share with a friend if you need somebody to wake up in your life. Maybe I can help them a little bit. I'll try. And then if you want to be part of the community, if you're enjoying the chat, if you're enjoying this discussion, check it out. Go in the description right now. Click the Patreon link. My gift to you is a free month. You get a month to try it out. Try out the Discord. Try out the members' lives. Watch some of the extra content. See what you think. If you want to stick around, then you can make that decision later. But you get a month to decide. And I think that's pretty generous. Who else does that? Netflix gives a week. I give a month. So try it out. If you want to become a member, the Discord's a lot of fun. Great community in there. And it's just getting better every day as people keep coming in. All right, let me check out the chat here, see if I missed anything. Has anyone taken a good look at Charlie Schumer's wife? That is a man, baby. That's a man. Oh, man, you guys crack me up. Thank you so much, Johnny. I appreciate you, brother. I think it's more determination than cleverness, says Ellen. It might be true. These people don't quit, that's for sure. And they're loyal to each other. Drewski, big deal how pathetic they are, don't have anything to do. They try to target Kash Patel for alcohol. I know, right? Yeah. It's pretty pathetic. It really is. Let's see here. Oh, argument about Bianco in the chat. I'm going to stay away from that one. Brent says, 100% white boy here. My motocross hero is James Bubba Stewart. Fastest man to ever throw a leg over a motocross, a black man. That's right, man. Who cares? I grew up, Michael Jordan was my hero. I was a basketball player. I was a good basketball player, too. He was my hero, man. I didn't care. Michael Jordan and Kevin Garnett were my favorite basketball players of all time. Still are. Who cares? Do I think eugenics? Ew. Why are we talking about eugenics in here? Eugenics is pure evil. All right. Okay. Don't see much else. WAP 3605 says, I've been binging the Bible playlist. Awesome stuff. Thank you, brother. I think I also need to do it, redo it. I did that teaching, I think it's almost 3 years ago now. And I think I want to get back into it and redo it with a little more energy and stuff. But thank you. If you are interested in that, I did a members only 16-part deep dive Bible study on understanding the Bible through the covenants and how to interpret the Bible through context and history and not as other people do, where they just cherry pick the verses and believe what everybody told them it says. I'm just teasing that. No, that's not everybody, but it's a lot of people. So anyways, did a deep dive on that, shared a lot of my knowledge over 16 episodes, did it for the members. And then after it was members only for about a year, I felt like I was supposed to Let the world have it. So I put it in a playlist. It's on my channel. Just go to the playlist, go to the Understanding the Whole Bible playlist, and you guys can go through that too. So, Chris Cole, really interested on thoughts on eschatology. Well, I've done deep thoughts on that in that Bible teaching. So, what do I think of the book, the Ethiopian Bible? The Ethiopian Bible is interesting. I don't have much time to go into it tonight because I do have other stuff I need to get to. But I will say this. Ethiopian Bible is the 66 Bibles that are considered canon by the Protestants. And it's also a lot of pseudepigraphal stuff, which even the Ethiopians don't necessarily consider canon. It's just in their Bible. It's like the Apocrypha in the Catholic Bible. Even the Catholics don't consider the Apocrypha canon. They consider it useful, though. And that's how I look at the Ethiopian Bible. Most of those books, in fact, all of them, I would say none of them are heretical. They all just are extra. They add understanding, but without taking away from anything from the canon. But yeah, Book of Enoch's very interesting. First Enoch, 2 and 3 are not, they're not the same Enoch. But First Enoch was passed down by tradition. That's the one quoted by Jude in the Bible, so we know it's safe. And yeah, but it's also not canon because they can never prove Enoch himself wrote it, because he didn't. He passed it down by tradition, spoken tradition. And that's why it can't be in the canon, because unless every book in the canon, the 66 books in the, the regular Bible you find at Walmart, every one of those books is in the Bible, the 66. They know exactly who wrote it. And they know that, the Old Testament was already considered scripture by Jesus. Okay. So they're good with those 37 books, 39 books. I'm sorry. And the next 27 they knew exactly who wrote them. And every book in the New Testament was written by somebody who either knew Jesus personally or was Paul the Apostle, who all the other apostles who knew Jesus accepted his writings as scripture. Peter says that in the book of Peter. So that's how you become canon. And if you're not canon, you didn't fit any of that. Okay. So that's why there's different books and different Bibles. Anyways, okay. We got to get moving, guys. I got some more to get to. So I thought it was really important to talk about this tonight. So we just had the Kevin Warsh, Trump's nominee to the Fed chair. And I watched the entire hearing, all his answers, and I actually believe this is going to be the guy who's going to fundamentally change the Fed and maybe be the guy who helps us transition out of the Fed permanently when we can. So, excuse me. Don't know where that came from. Anyways, let me start that over. So, but anyways, Kevin Warsh's hearing, it was fantastic. It was very interesting. The man has very interesting economic theory that is much more in line with what I believe is legit. And it's going to be a huge change from Jerome Powell. Well, Susan Kokinda did a great breakdown on it. I recommend everybody watch it. It's 12.5 minutes, easy to watch. I'm not going to get into her whole video, but she did post it with this. Kevin Warsh said the quiet powder out loud at the Senate confirmation. Regime change at the Fed. Everyone missed it. The empire didn't. Susan Kokinda and what Warsh and the Production Act Energy Order, Mark Carney's toy soldiers have in common. Very good video. But here is Warsh in the quote she just brought up. And listen very carefully what he says here.
My preferred definition of stable prices is a little different than most academics. I believe that price stability should be a change in prices such that no one's talking about it. That's an old-fashioned definition, but I think it's still valid. And the sooner that we can reform the institution with my colleagues, if confirmed, the sooner we can ensure price stability, and we can have a new set of leaders atop the institution with high, credible, ethical standards to return the Fed to what it should be. The independence that both Chairman Scott and Senator Warren mentioned, critically important. But independence has to be earned, and it's earned by delivering on the promises, the commitments that the Fed has made. And as the Fed hasn't delivered on those promises, we shouldn't be surprised that we hear politics that are entering the room at the Fed. We need to get the politics out of it so the Fed can focus on its day job, deliver on full employment and stable prices.
You hear, you read between the lines there. He just talked about a full-on leadership change at the Fed in everywhere sense and form. And then he said, return the Fed to what it's supposed to be. Well, there's a lot of people who would say the Fed shouldn't be at all. So there is some reading between the lines there. But if you listen to the entire hearing, you can tell this guy is going to be radical. One of the things he brought up, which was fantastic, is the idea, inflation has all of a sudden become a colloquial. Inflation is the money supply has increased, and so all prices go up. That's what inflation is. Just because there's more money supply, it's the rising tide that lifts all boats. That's inflation. And he broke that down, and the Democrats just didn't know what to do with themselves because they're going, and so he breaks that down and says how he believes we're using the wrong stuff to measure inflation. And what he basically brought up was, inflation, the way we should do it. He talks about a system that's much closer to what Trueflation does, which is the account I always show you guys when we're talking about inflation, where it's at. In Trueflation, they have inflation at under 2% right now. And it makes sense because we haven't been printing more money. So inflation should remain low. Now, what Warsh also believes in is that we shouldn't print money. We just should not be doing that. And he wants to get all the assets out of the Fed as well. In other words, he's going to go in and he wants to undo everything that's happened in the Fed since Obama, when they used the financial crisis to completely change the Fed, completely make it more powerful than ever, and completely change our monetary policy in America so that the banks, we basically became a financial center, our economy. He completely took away the idea of middle class owning assets. We own less assets than ever. It went all to the top, wage increase disparity because all the assets went to the top. And then he got rid of all the services. Like the service sector just gets weaker and weaker except for healthcare. Obama, what he put into place in that has been killing our economy and allowing all the fat cats to get richer. And some of those fat cats are just good businessmen. They're not all bad people. I'm not an eat the rich guy. So most people who, they took advantage. It's like Trump said when Hillary was like, Donald Trump paid no taxes that year. And he's like, yeah, because I'm smart. He used the law. It was legal. And that's, but then there's plenty of them who are predatory. So don't get me wrong. There's some awful ones up there. But that's beside the point. The point is that it was meant to kill and imprison or enslave in a way most of us by putting us into debt slavery, by never letting us get ahead. That's why my generation is the first generation in American history that's not going to be, not on track to be wealthier than our parents, more successful than our parents. First time in history, in American history. That's why it's all because of Obama and what that administration did. It was all part of destroying America. Because once you destroy the middle class, well, then you have the only people with real power, because the middle class was the most powerful bloc in America. As a whole, we had more power than the people at the top. And that was the great thing about America. It was one of the great equalizers in America. Sure, there were super powerful individuals, but on the whole, politically, the middle class ran this country. And that's how it was supposed to be. And that's how it mostly was for the first 100, 150 years. We lost all that, and it started with the Fed, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And then Obama put it into full effect. And basically, it was the final death blow to the middle class if it had been allowed to carry out. And what we were going to become is an oligarchy ruled by the few at the top. That's what we were going to become, because they were going to have all the assets, everything. And they were just hoping all of us, they could get us on government welfare, get us on the dole, And then we would just keep voting for more and more benefits, more and more welfare from the government to bankrupt the government. And eventually they were, going to let a lot of us just die off. That's what COVID was about. That's what the COVID vaccines are all about. Thank God for Trump. He interrupted it and stopped all of that. But Warsh is now going to be the guy who undoes the Fed aspect of that, which will be huge. It'll reset our markets to get back in line with the real economy. This will be a big part of that. It'll stabilize our economy and help us build prosperously moving forward. Get back more to the American system of economy we had in the 1800s. So this is a big deal, and he's awesome. And people are wondering if he was going to be great. Everything I've found about him is awesome. I truly think he's going to massively change things, which moving forward, it's even another hit against the whole Trump's the technocrat, big, market guy, Wall Street guy. That's all he cares about. All he cares about are rich people. Warsh is a good example that that's just not true, because all that stuff that caused wage discrepancy and got the middle class out of assets, Warsh is going to undo as much of that as he can at the Fed. That's huge. And it might weaken the Fed to the point where eventually they get rid of it. Or maybe the other part is, because Warsh is a big critic of how the Fed's been doing stuff, the other thing is maybe he gets behind the scenes and start finding out the kind of stuff we need to get out to convince Congress to get on board also with disbanding the Fed. So who knows, guys? We can dream, right? But he's also, after listening to him, one of the smartest men I've ever heard speak about economics. And he also, just listen to this little talk about what could be coming for the future.
What we call AI in a couple of years, we'll just call business. And AI is going to make almost everything cost less. And the U.S. can be a big winner. And it's a hugely exciting moment. If I were to step back for a minute, if I were the president, what I'd be worried about is a central bank that doesn't see any of that. A central bank that is stuck with models from 1978, governance from a prior period, and don't recognize we could be at the front end of a productivity boom. And if I were the president, I'd be worried that they might not see it. And they might think economic growth is somehow going to be inflationary. I think we were probably in the early innings of a structural decline in prices. Ken sees it on the front lines of real businesses. And I think if you look over the period of the next year.
Did you guys hear what he just said? AI, he said, in just a few years, he'll just consider it business. This is something I've been saying for years. I've been using AI frequently since it first released to the public in its current form. And lots for marketing. Okay. And I got to tell you, I don't think it's nearly as scary as what people are saying it is. I think the fear of AI is actually a psyop, because what I've seen from AI is I think AI is going to unleash the great small business revolution in America. And just like Warsh said, it's going to make things cheaper and cause a productivity boom. That's all good stuff. But what we have to do, and this is going to be the hardest part of the AI boom for a lot of people, the mindset that you just go to college, get a job, and hold on for dear life till you retire. That whole security thing, that's going out the window. That will be gone. And honestly, that's a good thing. We don't need that. It's corporatism. And all that did was empower the corporations and completely change our country and disempower us. What AI is going to do, it's going to make it easier than ever to access wealth if you know how to use it, if you partner with it and use it correctly. Obviously, there's going to be good and bad. I'm not pretending there won't. It's just like the internet. It's like any tool. But if you utilize it correctly, and there's a reason Trump's pushing this so much, because they don't want this, the deep staters, they don't want this being used by the public. Why do you think they are fighting tooth and nail to regulate it down so that other countries could actually pass us, like China? This is one of the Trump's big things. Like, no, because Trump knows it's going to be an excellent tool for us. And you know what it's also going to do? This is one of my favorite parts of AI. It's going to completely eliminate the elitist liberal class, because what AI is going to do, it's going to kill like law. It's just going to down in 10 to 20 years, we're going to have far less lawyers. That's a good thing. Most lawyers are liberal and, they try to run the country. We'll have AI doing a lot of law stuff. We'll have AI helping with all medical stuff, which it already does a better job diagnosing than most doctors. It's, so all these like liberal elite crap, professors gone. We're not going to need them much anymore. There will still be aspects of that, but what's going to happen is a boom in blue collar work, working with your hands. And also again, the work of small business, because with AI, you can basically be one person and run a business as if you had 5, 6, 7 employees, if you know what you're doing with AI. I run an entire marketing department at a company now, and that marketing department 9 years ago, 10 years ago, when I first got into marketing, was 9 people. Now I run the entire department at the same production level as that team of 9 with time to spare because of AI. It's incredible. And it's just like the Industrial Revolution. Everybody's like, oh, jobs are going to go away. No, it's just going to be different. And you got to get past that. But the age of corporatism, where you went to college and you just hoped that you got a good job, and then you held on to that crappy job that you hate in 30 years, but you held on to it just because, it pays you, a half decent salary with a 3% raise in healthcare every year. And you never really get wealthy, but you're never poor. And then you get to retire when you're 65 and, you can barely move anymore. Yeah, that whole mindset, it's going to completely die because of the AI era. Warsh sees that. Trump sees that. And it's very good soon that most other people say it. I even tell my kids, I'm like, I don't care if you go to college. Don't go, honestly. It's probably bad for you if you're paying for it. Go if it's free. If you get scholarships, go. If it's not, don't pay for it, or wait till you're 23 and then you get all the government stuff. But don't go. Plus you're too young to know what you want to do anyways. Go work, make money, earn skills. But I also tell them this. I say, learn business and learn AI. If you learn those two things, you're guaranteed to be successful at some point. And that I'm telling you, those who don't do it are going to be left behind, and they're going to be playing catch up. But that's where we're at. And Kevin Warsh sees it. And this is just a good example of the people in charge, whether you like it or not. Trump and Warsh are about to be in charge of a lot of our economy, including Bessent. And I'm telling you, they're talking exactly what I've been seeing. And so I think we're heading in that direction. And I'm actually really excited about it. The AI capabilities are incredible. And it's not scary the way people think. Someone said Trump might be building an AI server under a ballroom so president can run the country from the White House. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I do think the ballroom has some strategic aspects to it, and they're reinforcing a lot under there. Trump admitted it in a post a week ago. He really spelled out what's going on in that ballroom, and it's a lot more than just hosting stuff. So pretty crazy. But anyways, listen, guys, if you're enjoying this, like, subscribe. I got Grifter Report is next. So we're going to get into the grifters, what they're up to, and then a couple wins at the end, and we'll be done for the night. But before I do, we'll get back into the chat for a couple minutes. And so let me see what's going on here. Dan, you're so grumpy, man. Why are you so grumpy? So grumpy about AI. No, it's not going to be stupid. Rumdog says, in my line of work, AI saved creativity time, improved output quality. Absolutely. Listen, AI has been, I'll say this. What AI has done is allowed me to be more creative because I actually can use my creativity, and it kills. What AI does is it kills the busy work. And by killing busy work, it frees you up. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Seth says, imagine how many small businesses can thrive with AI getting rid of bureaucracy. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Kev says there'll be rules, regulations, and laws put into place. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it'll be like the internet. There'll be regulation. Of course there will be. But I don't think it's going to be what you think as far as like crazy stuff. Grifters are drifters. AI will replace the need for you to know AI. No, it won't. That's the idea of general intelligence, and it's never going to happen. See, Elon Musk believes it will, but you gotta remember something. I know something Elon doesn't. Elon doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in the fact that we have souls and spirits. So if you don't believe in that, you believe that a machine could eventually replace the human brain. But we're not our brain. We're not just our body. We're not just this flesh. We are spirits. We have more to us than a machine can never have. So an AI will never get general intelligence. It will never reach that point. So we will rule over AI just like we rule over the rest of creation. I'm sorry, God would not put something in the world, allow something in the world that we couldn't handle. So all that dooming and stuff. And listen, you might not believe in God, somebody watching right now, and that's fine. You're wrong, but that's fine. But I'll be right. I'll be proven right on this. 100% I'll be proven right. We will never reach that general intelligence that replaces the human creativity. This is to unleash our creativity, not hold it back. It kills online drudgery. That's true. Yeah, just like internet and Y2K was supposed to do us all. Exactly. The AI is the same kind of psyop. It really is. Elon goes to church weekly. He just has old Silicon Valley nonsense to work out. That's true. Yeah. I don't think he's like become a Christian yet, though. I don't think he's fully embraced that. I think he goes just for the moral stuff. Crypto says AI will have a profound effect on human, most likely lessening. No, I disagree with you there. There's already a huge backlash against the tech world. People are starting to detox themselves, and it's becoming a movement because health is getting so bad that people are more and more starting to find ways to get back outside. And I think there's going to be a huge backlash of this in the next 10 years, and people are going to start rejecting. I think we already reached peak isolationism, and that was during COVID, which was forced upon us. And then we still have the hangover of that. But I think people hate it, and they're rejecting it, and community is going to become more and more of a thing. And it'll be allowed to because AI will save us so much time on busy work. We'll have more time for family. We'll have more time for community. And this will all be part of the golden age. I really believe this. I really do. So I think it's coming. Who went to a Y2K party on New Year's Eve? I had a party with my friends. I was 16 and I thought there was a small chance I might die. I did. I bought into this stuff. I was scared. Let's see. I hope I'm right too, Crypto. If I'm not, I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter anyways, does it? If I'm wrong, nothing can stop it. But I'm telling you, I think it's just the same old psyop that's happened throughout all of history. People have freaked out about stuff, every aspect of history. Oh, those are bronze swords. Oh my God, iron. Oh my God, architecture, like arches. Oh my God, the Industrial Revolution. Oh my God, the internet. Oh my God, factories. It's always the same thing. Oh my God, electricity. Oh my God, cars. Who's going to ride horses? People are always scared of technology. Always. And it's just, we evolve. People, I'm so sick of the whole dooming mentality that people have. Like we are made in God's image. We are the most incredible creation ever. There's a reason people have always been able to overcome every problem. The reason we always overcome problems, the reason society has continually gotten better for the last 2,000 years on a trajectory of improvement with blips here and there, 5 steps forward, 1 step back, sometimes a leap back, and then 5 leaps forward. But the trajectory is always improving. And it always will be. We are masters of technology and innovation, and we have to get back to that human spirit. It's the abundance mentality, and that's what it is. God is not anti-techno. That is absolutely correct. God gave us technology, man. David again says, another $10 donation, says AI, like most things, part of humanity's destiny. To fight against it would be like fighting against the steam engine. If it's humanity's destiny, it might as well be a leader. 100%, man. I completely agree with that. That's a great, great comment. Thank you for sharing. And thank you so much for the support tonight, brother. I appreciate you. Seth says AI helped me with business stuff, allowed me to focus on engineering and design. Absolutely, 100%. So, so listen, guys, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of AI. My mic's getting all jacked up here. Sorry. Will transhumanism be our lot? No, it won't. That's just another. That's a psyop from the dark side. They want to go there. We won't go there. There will be some people who dabble in it, but I think it's going to be such an effective failure. Again, you know, people, when it comes to people, we're not machines. And everybody who thinks we can combine with machines, who think, we can be replaced by machines, they're just wrong. There'll be aspects that can be, but there's just no replacing us, and there's no getting rid of us either. You know, we have that promise. Like, again, if you're not a person of faith, you might be like, well, I don't have that promise. Fine. That's fine. But those of us who have that faith, we do have that promise, and we can either believe it or not. And I believe it. What about crypto? Crypto is just another technology, man. It's a technology of currency, and it'll just become more and more used. It's not going anywhere. Look at what Trump's done. Trump has made it not only socially acceptable, but he's made it, he's ingrained it more into our culture. There's no turning back on crypto. The only thing with crypto is it eventually will consolidate into the best cryptos, and then people will just use those for whatever they're best for. And so that'll eventually happen. Posier says, I was 31, an IT specialist in 2K. I tried to tell everyone calm down, but they were losing their minds. I know. That's what I mean. Like, everybody always loses their minds. So I was promised a retard-free world 3,000 years ago. You're never replacing the retards. See, with humanity not being gone and not being replaced, well, humanity is just like AI. You got to keep the good and the bad. It's always going to be retards. Sorry, unfortunately. Yeah, the consciousness of computer thing is insane. Will AI replace the SEC? At some point it might. Or the SEC will at least get much smaller, and AI will do all the watching and the oversight. You know? So what about Neuralink? Is that okay for Christians? You know, I don't think there's any problem with it. Listen, if it's a tool that makes you healthy, personally, it's just a prosthetic. I don't think there's any difference between Neuralink and glasses, or Neuralink and, peg leg. You know, I just don't. So it's like, if it helps you live a better life, then take care of it. You know, just do it. And it's not going to be the mark of the beast. Like, God's going to send you to hell because you want to be healthier and live a better life. Yeah, I don't think so. Sorry. I just don't see that happening. Guys, I'm sorry. I actually have to take a quick break because my dog is outside and my son is gaming with his headphones on and not getting the dog. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Oh, also my mic is falling off its stand. So this is awesome. Good TV right here. All right, I'll be right back. Oh, all right. Can AI fix my mic? No, I need a robot for that. Get an AI dog. I'm not going to be that person. Do I think the countries accepting crypto, mainly the Americas and Middle East, was planned? No. I think some of this stuff just happened. They tried to contain it, but they just couldn't. You know, I didn't play Cyberpunk. That's funny. Little Timmy's in trouble. Yeah, I had to yell at my son because he just left the dog out there. Okay, anyways, let's go on to the Grifter report. You guys ready? Short report tonight. They're always grifting, but not as much today. But that's okay. Alex Jones caught saying the same thing as Kyle Seraphin night after night, reading scripts. You gotta love these people. They don't even try to hide it anymore. It's just getting so bad. But here's Alex.
Oh, no. You better have a plan. because what you've been doing has killed us with the voters. Here's the FBI director.
And here's Kyle in a chat.
That guy, and we haven't gotten him so far, but
sorry, the sound on these sucks. Let me see if I can increase the sound. I might have to make it full screen.
I'm a pragmatic guy, and we haven't gotten him so far, but if he starts making progress on him, I'll call it out. I'm happy to see that our gas prices are starting to decline here in Texas. They went from $5.50 for diesel. They're slightly under $5. Is that as good as $3 where it was 8 weeks ago? No, but if it gets back down, I'll be happy it gets there. I'm happy to see things happen when they happen, and I'll call it as I see it, as Mark likes to say, balls and strikes.
Balls and strikes.
But what I don't see is the thing that everybody was promised. Where the fuck are the deep state arrests?
Balls. Whoa, what just happened with the SPLC there, Kyle? Dummy. These people, man, it's pathetic. It's just like the other night when I played Anna Kasparian right next to Nick Fuentes. It's central casting, man. Central casting for the deep state. Just what are we gonna say tonight? What are we gonna do? So anyways, that's that. And then we have Candace, she's got her own craziness tonight or today.
Tyler Robinson lookalikes that.
Oh, by the way, the defense in the Tyler Robinson trial has been horrific, and the prosecutors have so far made an ironclad case against him, including matching the bullet to the gun, putting the gun on him, having a camera catching him walking up and sitting exactly where he shot from. So listen, I know this is the number one thing people get mad at me about. Okay, the number one thing is when I call out Candace. I get the Candace lovers all the time. I don't understand it. I didn't know they still existed, but they're out there, and they hate that I dare bring up anything opposite of what Candace says. But it's the truth. I'm sorry. So, anyways, it is it's falling apart for them, and Candace ain't happy. So now I've set the stage for you.
I'm getting the sense that they had multiple Tyler Robinson lookalikes that day. That's why the footage is grainy. And it's just impossible that all this footage is going to be grainy, okay? I think there were multiple Tyler Robinson lookalikes, and they were wearing maroon shirts and wearing hats and wearing what they were supposed to wear, and they're never going to show us a clear picture of Tyler Robinson because it's very easy to find a Tyler Robinson lookalike and to blur it.
Is it? Is it easy? Tyler Robinson lookalikes? They're just everywhere? Let's look them up. Tyler Robinson. His lookalikes are everywhere. So that's, you can't trust what you see on the TV. You can't trust what you saw on the cameras. Everybody looks like this dude? What? Are you serious? I don't know anybody who looks like this guy. This is crazy talk. He's got, in my opinion, oops. All right, now we're just getting into the crazies. In my opinion, he's got a very unique face. Like a very unique face. I don't know anybody who looks like this guy. I kind of look like Tyler Robinson. Now that's funny. So, listen, I just, how the hell, I'm sorry, how the hell does anybody still take this woman seriously? I don't get it. And listen, God bless you if you watch my channel and watch hers. I just pray you wake up someday. My number one video so far this week was when I broke off and I cut the part with Laura Loomer and Candace. And that video, so many people were like, "Oh, you trust Laura Loomer over Candace, you retard?" And that's, it was insane. So I'm just telling you, some of these people, they go deep and you can't pull them back out. It's really sad. But oh, all right. Well, last night, Kyle Seraphin and Stuart Rhodes, they're all part of the Kash Patel attack. Look at this.
I've been defamed a million times. It's very difficult. But no, I'm not gonna throw a temper tantrum on social media. Like I think Kash Patel's a bitch, frankly.
These clips are really quiet. I apologize. But called Kash Patel a bitch. Nothing would happen. Rhodes was recently on Alex Jones saying Trump is compromised, no longer MAGA. Were they getting ahead of the SPLC announcement? It is interesting. They'd say that at the same time as the Atlantic, right? Kyle Seraphin. Alex Jones, exclusive tonight, Kyle Seraphin, April 2nd. Kash Patel is going to be let go tonight. Yeah, that was Kyle. These people, man, it's so pathetic how wrong they are. So I figured, to celebrate how wrong they are, we should have this incredible discussion between Buckley and Tucker Carlson replayed for a minute.
And so, I certainly campaigned for the president. I supported him. I really did. And I'm implicated in this for sure. I am. And I regret it. Totally regret it. Well, what would you say is your main issue now with President Trump? Well, because Donald Trump and Bibi, by the way, have just constantly focused on Israel. They've just obsessed day in and day out. The president has made his entire message, his entire narrative is about Israel, 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 and just obsessed with the issues of a foreign nation. And that's shameful. It's disgusting. And they just made every single effort to divide the base and confuse the base and break up the coalition of MAGA and weaken conservatives in this country. They've done everything they can to mislead people about the history of this country, which is my country. and I just hate it. I hate it. I really do. I hate it. I'm sorry, I hate it. And so that's shameful. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but to continue to be hyper-focused and fixated on a foreign nation while not providing any constructive answers or solutions to fix our country, to fix this nation, which is my country, which is a Christian country, to not provide any actual solutions. That's shameful. That's evil. And I hate it as a white person, as a Christian, as a man. I hate that. And anyone who does that, Trump or Bibi, doing that, they should be shamed. They should be condemned because it's shameful and it's evil. And I hate it. You're kind of describing yourself. I know. I hate myself. Oh, all right. I do. I really do. I hate myself. Totally hate myself. And by the way, nothing against Bibi. And I love our president. But I hate myself. Yeah, we all hated you. The whole family. I do.
Oh, man. That's so perfect. I like the whole my nation. This is my nation. Tucker always does that. So good, man. So good. We got to laugh, right? We got to laugh. Who is that? I think it's this guy, Ami Kozak.
And so, I certainly campaign.
Yeah, he does some other stuff too. Yeah, that's him. He does some funny stuff. Candace Owens. All right, I'll play one more because you asked for it. Because I know you guys are asking for it, even if you didn't ask for it.
Right, you guys, we actually have leaked audio from the hearing of Tyler Robinson from none other than his grandfather. Most people don't know this, but the gentleman in the recording that you're about to hear, who is supposed to be Tyler Robinson's grandfather, he might actually be the father of Tyler Robinson's father. Just find that interesting. Just find that interesting how generations connect. Just find that really interesting. And we should ask ourselves, why would a grandfather, have any other interest in their grandson being proved innocent and proving that he was framed? Why would there be any other interest? Anything that could compromise them or create a bias? I don't know. But he has no reason. I don't see why he doesn't have a reason to tell the truth. So let's just take a listen to the audio that was recorded from the courthouse today. Let's take a listen and see what it proves.
Who are you to Tyler?
We're the grandparents, yeah.
Oh, wow. You're his grandfather?
Yes. And I just want to say for the record, whatever appears to you in dreams, those are facts that should be admissible in court. Dreams are real. Also, Charlie Kirk was a time traveler who could astral project, and Brigitte Macron definitely has a dick.
I believe you.
You guys. What have I been saying? You guys, they think we're stupid. We're so close. You can't make this up, you guys. You cannot make this up. Thank you to the Mommy Sleuth reporter who was able to capture that, recording. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. We're getting sued, you idiot.
All right. Sorry about that. I was just saying, sometimes we got to laugh. We got to just make fun of them. But, man, that was right on. So that's tonight's Grifter Report. Whew, good stuff. All right, I want to go through a couple wins we got tonight. But before I do, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your support, as always. And, he nailed it. That was such a good impression. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see here. You love Candace and her borough of investigation. I know, right? Let's see here. David says, what sucks about these drops, we already knew this, and the left doesn't care, but it's dismantling their system. Hey, as long as it dismantles their system, we win. And then it'll eventually work out. Pada says, man, what happened to Alex? Did he start glowing after court allegations took down his company? I think Alex has always been an operative, but he was allowed to give out some information to suck us in. And then he's just, used at the proper times. Alex, you look back, because I used to like Alex too. I used to listen to him a lot. You look back at Alex's career, and it kind of is like his whole job was always to discourage and create doubt all the time. And, because of that, he was allowed to give out some information. And now the first president that's actually taking down the deep state is also the first time Alex has really, really been freaking out. I mean, I know he's had his freakouts. He does that. He does this. I'm going to fight him. It's homeless. He's always done that, but this is I never saw him go after Obama like this. And that was the most deep state of them all. So, I think Alex has always been an operative, and they just held him and used him as they needed him. I really do. So, but you're right. I can't fully explain what happened with Sandy Hook. If maybe it was real parents and they just went crazy on the thing, or maybe he, I don't know, maybe he pissed off the wrong person. I don't know. But just for the way he's acting now, I don't think it, I don't think it was just he turned all of a sudden. That doesn't make sense. If you're somebody like Alex and you've been that involved and that deep into the deep state, and you're a true fighter all these years, and if that's legit and you finally get the president pushing back on that, how could you ever turn on him? I mean, if I can see it, surely Alex can see it. Surely he can see that he's got grifters on his show with Nick Fuentes and Kyle Seraphin. These guys are always wrong. Robert Barnes. I mean, come on. It's so I don't think you just go stupid overnight. No, somebody got to him. And maybe he was always gotten to, and now he's just being deployed. I don't know. But you're right. It doesn't make sense. I've been trying to figure it out for a long time. You could make Tyler because we have good enough makeup and stuff. I mean, that's true, Alan, but I don't think, he still has a very unique face to him. Anyways. He got paid to turn. Maybe he did. I'm kind of retarded. Alex Jones quit. Was he drunk when he said that? Because he's been drunk a lot. Even 20 through 24, he'd show signs. Yeah. Oh, he's definitely showed signs for a long time. In the Q posts, which, I know not all you guys like the Q stuff, and that's fine. But I do feel like there was a lot of legitimacy to him. And in the Q posts, they call out Alex and InfoLeaks. They said they were operatives. So, okay. You might have started off legit and went gonzo and became about the business of making money. And that's possible too. It really is. So, would I be more forgiving to Alex if his family's threatened? 100%. If it came out that Alex was trying to preserve his family because they were threatened, yes. But I got to tell you, I don't think so. He's about to go through another divorce. So his wife's getting away. I just don't think that happens. So, okay, let's get to some quick wins, and then we'll call it a night. But we had a huge legal victory today in the Ninth Circuit. The court permanently enjoined California's mask law targeting federal agents. So they were trying to make ICE agents not able to wear masks in California. But anyways, the supremacy clause, which says the federal government usurps state law, the Ninth Circuit overturned it. So big loss for Gavin Newsom today. That always makes me very happy. It also gives a lot more power to ICE to do what they need to do. House Republicans have introduced an end the H-1B Visa Abuse Act, a 3-year pause on new H-1B visas, and massive reform. So this would be huge. This would basically put into effect a lot of Trump's executive order, so it would last after he leaves. This is huge, be great. The H-1B executive orders already had massive success, and so this would be even better. Excuse me. H-1B visa cap would go all the way down to 25,000, limiting visas to 1 3-year term, not 2. Returning applicants to maintain a foreign residence they have to return to, so they can't just leave their home forever. Minimum salary of 200,000, so you're only getting high quality workers. Anyway, so just good stuff. Codifying his $100,000 fee. This is just great stuff. So good job. It's not going to pass the Senate right now because they'll have to go through the filibuster, but it's a start, and maybe we get a miracle. Who knows? But they're trying. Trump has fired 13% of all immigration judges and is proving less than 25% of asylum claims. That's huge. Just see all this dipping down. So the immigration stuff continues to just get better and better. And I know, like, we're never going to deport the numbers people want. We just don't have the resources. It's impossible. But Trump's very smartly making it harder for them to stay in every way, financially, legally, through the legal system. I mean, he's taking away all the avenues to make it easy. The fraud, that brought in a lot of their money. So by disincentivizing being illegal here, it will also get a lot of them out. So we're going to deport a lot more through the whole system than just being picked up and taking them out. And it's working. Here's one thing they don't tell you about the midterms. The Republicans have a $600 million advantage so far in the midterms that they just have not deployed yet. So you have Democrat-aligned groups versus Republican-aligned. So national party committees, 120 million less than Republicans. House and Service campaign, 15 million less. House and Senate super PACs, 119 less. And then Future Forward and MAGA Inc., 340 million less. So guys, we haven't started the midterm season yet. Just wait till it ramps up and the Republicans can actually deploy all their money and strategy. The Iran war is over. The economy's doing better. Don't listen to anybody saying that the midterms are even close to over right now. It's ridiculous. Housing Secretary today announced Federal Housing Administration now allows the use of Vantage Score and the new FICO 10T as eligible credit scoring models. This is going to let a lot more people qualify for loans. I don't know about you, but under Obama, they made it so much harder to get a mortgage. You had to have 2 years of income and all this other stuff. Your FICO credit score had to be, 650 and above or something like that, which doesn't make sense if you don't use much credit. So anyways, the point is they are making it easier. They're changing this, what you need to get a mortgage, which is good for Americans. It's not ninja loans. We're not going ever back to that. But there are good people who should be able to get mortgages that haven't been. And that was all by design, by the way. They didn't want you to own homes. And so Trump's going back to more what we were traditionally on that. There's a lot of talk about the glyphosate issue, that Trump has put glyphosate back in and made it impossible to get rid of, basically, and Maha's all mad about it. Well, Senator Kennedy set that to rest today. Said Trump's executive order does not increase glyphosate. He says, as long as we're dependent on it, we're going to make it here. That's it. But he's authorized Kennedy to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to look for alternatives to get off of glyphosate as quickly as possible. So great news for the Maha crowd, who is really worried that we were just getting in bed with Roundup, which is poison and has a lot of bad effects. Don't use Roundup, folks. That stuff's evil. But we do use it all over our crops. And because we feed so many people, we can't risk getting rid of our pesticide right now until we have an alternative. So That's what we're doing, and he is just saying that Trump is already trying to get rid of it. So that's excellent news, and really puts another psyop to bed. And then this is just a great exchange. You gotta watch this. This guy is such an idiot. RFK Jr. is just great on this stuff.
Gutting the very offices that keep American families safe from disturbing and deadly infectious diseases.
Senator,
sir, hold on, sir.
Senator, there's 1 to 3 rabies cases a year in the United States. I think one person manning that office full time probably can handle that traffic. In terms of prion disease, it's very, very rare.
I've been gutting the very.
So Warnock thought he had RFK on cutting down these diseases, his departments. He specifically mentioned rabies. 1 to 3 people a year. That's beautiful. So good. Anyways, I enjoyed that. Wanted to share with you guys. Okay. Please like, subscribe, guys, before we end tonight. Let me spend a little more time in the chat, catch up, and make sure I don't miss anything. And then we'll call it a night. So, let's see. Chris says, what? Oh, you're talking about Alex Jones. Oh, okay. With somebody else. Got it. Did I miss anything? William Cooper always called Alex out as an op. He wasn't right about everything. He nailed a lot of things. Yeah, Bill Cooper. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I agree with you. Nano says there's 200 denaturalizations each month. That's huge. I didn't know that. Who else? When is the SAVE Act passing or Thune being replaced? Rumdog, don't get your hopes up for Thune being replaced. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, it's not. There's not enough in the Senate to get rid of him. The Senate is still mostly uniparty Republicans, and they united behind Thune, and you might be able to get 5 to 10 to want to get him out, but there's not enough to get rid of Thune. He's going to be there. As far as the SAVE Act passing, the only thing we can hope is that Trump starts getting some major wins here, and they get scared of his popularity with the base again, and so it makes Thune move. But Trump did say one way or the other will get voter ID. So he's got a plan beyond the SAVE Act if it doesn't get passed. And I think that, listen, if the SAVE Act doesn't get passed, but we lose the Voting Rights Act, Trump is monitoring the elections, maybe cause a national emergency, there will be ways to make sure the elections, as long as Trump's overseeing them in the White House, that they're closer to fair. They still will be cheating. Oh, also if the Supreme Court strikes down the mail-in votes, that'll be huge. That they can be counted after the election day. That'll be huge. So there's a lot of things still in favor to make elections better for us even without the SAVE Act. And if we lose the midterms or barely win it, 2028 it's still, even without the SAVE Act, I think it's on track to be a landslide for Republicans. And there's a lot of reasons for that I just don't have time to go into, but we'll talk about it another time. But I think 2028 will be huge for Republicans. And in that, there will be a purging of more senators. And with the momentum of a new president, the SAVE Act will get passed then. That's what I'm believing is going to happen. Random rescheduling of cannabis. Yeah. Trump is just trying to make things make sense again. I personally don't think weed should be legal for recreational use. It's just disgusting and it's really bad for you. But I believe that THC should be available, in drinks and stuff. But just smoking it, it's gross. And everybody, go to Colorado now or Southern California. It's disgusting. You just smell it everywhere. Maybe you could smoke in your own home. Anyways, my point is this, though. Nobody should be going to prison for it. Okay? It's like, make it like a speeding ticket if you're smoking on the curb, something like that. But it's like people are in prison for smoking weed. That's just ridiculous. So I think it's just getting back to common sense. I've never listened to John B. Wells, but that name sounds familiar. Is he only reclassifying it for medical research? I guess that would make sense. Thank you, Chris Cole. Always optimistic here. Always optimistic. Crypto says we need election security here in Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, you do. Wisconsin is a cesspool for election fraud. Seth says people learn from me, grow as much of your own food as possible. I agree with you. Someday I hope to have land and can do it. Vegas stinks too. See? It's terrible. Smoke cigarettes and cigars like the rest of us. Don't smoke cigarettes. Cigarettes are terrible for you, but cigars and pipes are fine. Just don't be smoking them every day. Yeah, I think once pot got legalized in a recreational way, it just really started ruining some stuff. Plus, there's a lot of research that some people do get go sociopathic because of it. So, I just, if anything has that risk, it shouldn't be publicly available at easy. What is this Genesis 129? I mean, I love Genesis 1. I know what it's all about, but what's that specific verse? I've given you every herb bearing seed and every tree. To you it shall be for meat. Okay, so you can eat it. It doesn't say smoke it. Anyways, I'll say this. I've never seen a pothead, and by pothead I don't mean somebody who smokes once in a while. I've never seen a pothead like living a better life after they started smoking than before. I know guys who were on track. Like, I had a friend, genius. He had a 185 IQ, full ride scholarship to UC Davis as a senior. They're going to be a doctor. Smartest guy I ever knew, and at a younger age. All of a sudden he got into pot second half of his senior year. He just stopped caring about anything else. And he's not the only one. I've seen that happen to many people. So you can say, oh, there's exceptions. Fine, there's exceptions. But the vast majority of people who just start smoking pot on a regular basis lose most of their ambition. Alcohol kills if you abuse it, but alcohol is also can bring Jesus drank wine, dude. So don't try to act like alcohol is always awful in every situation. It's not. I drink alcohol. I love beer. And I will tell you this. I've drank many, many times in my life, and I don't get drunk anymore, except on very rare occasions. But I do enjoy beer. And I will say in my life, 99.5% of the time, my alcohol experience has been very positive. And this country was built on alcohol and tobacco. Just saying. Just saying. Your girlfriend wants to know if there's hope in repealing the 19th. She's hoping. That'll never happen. Never happen. Unless in 100 years, we've become a very super crazy pro-family nation again that's so hardcore family oriented that women decide they want to be seen as a family unit and vote as a family unit. And so we no longer do men and women. We go back to how it was before. Do you know that men didn't have the ability to just vote either? You had to be a property owner and a couple other things. So, but yeah, as far as repealing in your lifetime, you're not going to see it happen. It would have to be the women choose to give it up. Yeah, modern weed's more potent. I know there's lots of reasons why weed nowadays does not make sense. It just as a recreational drug, it just doesn't. But I'm not going to fight with you guys. I'm not going to fight with the hippies in here, the potheads. I still love you guys anyways. A lot of my friends were potheads. I grew up in California. I love potheads. I have lots of good friends who are potheads. They're a lot of fun to hang out with. I totally disagree with them, and we can all be friends. Okay? But I'll tell you right now that if I had the option, the opportunity to vote away, actually, federally, it still is illegal recreationally. It's only states that have made it. So, I don't need to vote for it. I can't think of a single thing good that came from recreational use of weed. Well, actually, I can. I can think of one good thing. Less people went to jail for it. And you just shouldn't go to jail for pot. That's the only thing. I did not think we'd get into a pot discussion tonight. That's fun. Alcohol does destroy lives, Johnny. Absolutely. There are people who cannot control themselves. I 100% agree with you. And people who have that issue, they usually have other issues that lead them to abuse alcohol. They should not be using it. But that doesn't mean it should be illegal. 90% of people who drink so responsibly and don't have issues. I've been around people my whole life. I've been around alcohol my whole life, people who drank my whole life. I don't have one person in my life who was destroyed by alcohol. And I know it's personal, so it's all circumstantial evidence that you've seen. But in my life, I don't know one person whose life was destroyed by alcohol. I know a lot that were destroyed by pot. I've had lots of, like I said, I've drank with friends, been around friends. My dad was European. We had wine with dinner, from the time I was 15 years old. And so, alcohol in other cultures is normal and they all live healthily. And, and so I'm just saying, like, I'm not like everybody drink. I don't believe that. So you can say it's common sense. Booze kills more people. That's fine. But I don't think weed's being, I'm not going to argue with you. Okay. A lot more people drink than smoke. So it's like saying more white people are murderers than black people. Okay, you're right. But per capita, black people are murderers 3 times more. Not because they're bad, not because they're race, because they're culture. Because of poverty, stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, you can't. Oh man, the potheads always get so mad. I'm not mad about you guys being critical of alcohol, but the potheads always get mad. That's another reason I can always tell weed's not good for you. They always get so defensive. So defensive. Look at this. Everybody. I love you guys. I'm not going to even debate you. Nothing you can tell me is going to change my mind. I've researched this extensively. So the case for alcohol is like, we tried prohibition. It didn't work. But I'm not going to get into it, guys. The potheads get so mad. Don't take away my weed, bro. Listen, I've lived that my whole I'm not going to come into your house and take away your weed. Don't worry. I said I think you should be able to smoke it at home. I didn't deny a single statistic. Now people are just getting retarded. No, first of all, nobody posted a statistic. They just said this is true. So anyways, I told you, we're not going to do this. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Yeah, sugar's kind of bad too, but you know what? I'm going to eat sugar. I'm just not going to dive into it and make it my life. So, come on. It's crazy. My God, people, they get so mad. So mad, get your potties out of a bunch and we can all be friends. We can all have disagreements, man. It's like, you can talk about any issue and people are like, yeah, cool. I see your way. You talk about pot. Like, oh my God, don't take away my weed, bro. Oh man, Johnny, I don't care that you smoke. When did I say anybody, I have anything personal against people who smoke? I didn't say one thing. I didn't say that at all. Don't get mad at me. You guys, if you take it personal, then that probably indicates you have an issue. I said I drink, I enjoy it. People were like, drinking so much worse than booze or pot. And I was like, okay. It doesn't bother me. You can have your opinion. Jeez Louise, guys. Oh, all right. Well, that was fun. Anyways, love you guys, regardless of our disagreements. You're the best. Meth is great for dental hygiene. Oh, man. You guys are awesome. All right. Love you guys. We got to end in a prayer and get out of here, and I'll be back tomorrow night. So, okay, Johnny, I wasn't talking about you. There were other people getting mad. Johnny, you've been in the chat forever, man. You've been around forever. I know you. I can trust you. I'm not worried about you at all. All right. I'm not worried about you at all. Reefer Madness. I should just play that one night as my live to educate these people, to help them, because they need it. They need to know the effects. Anyways, all right. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless us all. God help us all. Help us all get together despite disagreements that are stupid and that don't ultimately matter that much. And unite against the ones that really do matter. Father, bless us all. Bless everybody here watching. Bless our president. Protect him. Give him wisdom and boldness, God, for every situation. Bless our country and pray, God, that this golden age opportunity we have, all these things coming together, I pray they truly do come together in the way that we could foresee possible, so that we can have a better life for our kids, grandkids, great-grandkids going forward. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, love you guys. Bless you. Have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet, just a voice in the dark.